In the glittering cabarets of Belle Epoque Paris, under flickering gaslight, danced a woman who would become history's most infamous spy. Margaretha Gertruida Zell, known as Mata Hari. Perhaps she never was a spy at all. In 1917, facing the firing squad, she blew a kiss to her executioners and refused the blindfold. Was she a master spy, or simply a woman caught between nations hungry for a villain? You are now stepping into the smoky cabarets of Belle Epoque Paris, where gaslight flickers against velvet curtains and champagne bubbles catch the amber glow. Standing before you is a woman whose real name was Margaretha Gertruida Zell, a Dutch exotic dancer who became history's most infamous spy, though perhaps she never was one at all. Born in 1876, she transformed herself from a provincial banker's daughter into the mysterious Mata Hari, meaning Eye of the Dawn in Malay. Picture this: silk scarves floating through perfumed air, jeweled bracelets catching candlelight as she moves like liquid mercury across marble floors. The scent of jasmine and cigarette smoke mingles in the warm evening breeze. Mata Hari captivated officers, diplomats, and aristocrats across Europe. French colonels, German captains, Russian counts, all mesmerized by her performances. But here's the twist that makes you pause. During World War I, both sides suspected her of espionage, yet no concrete evidence ever emerged. She accepted gifts from lovers on opposing sides of the conflict, making her the perfect scapegoat when paranoia consumed wartime Europe. In 1917, facing a French firing squad, she reportedly blew a kiss to her executioners and refused the blindfold. Was she a master spy or simply a woman caught between nations hungry for a villain? Close your eyes now and wonder, how many secrets die with a single kiss? Hey friends, dim the lights and settle into your softest chair. We're traveling to the misty countryside of occupied France, where danger lurked behind every cottage door. You might be wondering how a one-legged American socialite became Nazi Germany's most wanted spy, right? Meet Virginia Hall, codenamed the Limping Lady by the Gestapo, who turned her prosthetic leg into her greatest disguise. Born in Baltimore in 1906, Virginia dreamed of diplomatic service, but was rejected due to her disability. So she created her own mission. Picture her hobbling through French villages, her wooden leg Cuthbert hidden beneath peasant skirts, carrying coded messages in hollowed-out bicycle frames. The scent of fresh bread from village bakeries masked secret meeting points where she coordinated resistance networks. Listen carefully. She organized parachute drops under moonlit skies, the soft whoosh of silk against pine branches as supplies floated down to waiting partisans. Her radio crackled with coded transmissions while church bells chimed midnight across sleeping valleys. The Gestapo offered enormous bounties for her capture, never realizing that the limping farm woman selling cheese at the market was their most elusive target. She evacuated downed pilots, sabotaged railways, and built spy networks that stretched across Nazi-occupied territory. Virginia Hall proved that sometimes our greatest perceived weaknesses become our most powerful strengths. What hidden strength might you be overlooking in yourself tonight? You are walking through the cherry blossom gardens of 1940s Tokyo, where pink petals drift like snow onto cobblestone paths and ancient temples stand silhouetted against the evening sky. Here lived a man whose extraordinary story reads like fiction. Richard Sorge, a German journalist who was actually a Soviet master spy. Born in Russia to a German father, he spoke fluent Japanese, German, and Russian, becoming the perfect chameleon for wartime espionage. Imagine this: sake flowing at diplomatic receptions while Sorge, playing the jovial correspondent, gathered the most classified military secrets. The soft scratch of his fountain pen fills quiet hotel rooms as he codes messages destined for Moscow. Incense smoke from nearby shrines mingles with tobacco from his ever-present cigarette as he develops photographs in makeshift darkrooms. Sorge's greatest triumph came in 1941 when he discovered Japan's plan to attack Pearl Harbor rather than invade the Soviet Union. His intelligence allowed Stalin to move crucial troops from Siberia to defend Moscow, quite possibly changing the outcome of World War II. But here's the haunting paradox. Despite providing intelligence that helped save the Soviet Union, Stalin abandoned Sorge when he was captured by Japanese authorities in 1941. He spent 3 years in prison before his execution, loyal to a nation that disowned him. Sometimes the greatest heroes remain invisible, their sacrifices known only to history's whispered pages. Do you think true heroism requires recognition, or is serving in silence its own reward? Dear listeners, take a deep breath and imagine yourself in a London garden during the Blitz, where blackout curtains flutter in bomb-rattled windows and the scent of roses mingles with distant smoke. Standing before you is a woman of extraordinary contradictions, Noor Inayat Khan, a pacifist who became a warrior, a children's author who learned to kill. Born to an Indian father and American mother, she grew up writing fairy tales and playing the harp in peaceful Parisian salons. Picture her delicate fingers, once dancing across harp strings, creating celestial melodies, now tapping out coded Morse messages in Nazi-occupied France. The soft click-click-click of her radio transmitter echoes through abandoned attics, while German direction-finding trucks prowl the streets below, their engines growling like hunting wolves. Listen to this remarkable detail. Noor was the last remaining British radio operator in Paris, single-handedly maintaining contact between London and French resistance networks. Despite orders to return to safety, she insisted on staying at her post. The whisper of turning pages mingles with her breathing as she burns code books by candlelight, memorizing everything before the Gestapo arrives. Captured in 1943, she endured months of torture but never revealed a single secret. Her final word, shouted before execution at Dachau, was liberté, freedom, a gentle soul who chose courage over comfort, proving that even those who dream of peace sometimes must fight for it. What would you sacrifice to protect the stories you believe in? You are now standing in the shadows of pre-revolutionary St. Petersburg, where gas lamps flicker against snow-covered cobblestones, and the sound of horse-drawn carriages echoes through fog-shrouded streets. Meet Sidney Riley, known as the Ace of Spies, a man so mysterious that even his birth name remains uncertain. Some say he was born Salomon Rosenblum in Ukraine. Others insist he was Irish-born. Hey friends, if you're enjoying these hidden stories of history, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got 95 more incredible tales coming your way. Picture this enigma: a master of disguises who spoke 11 languages fluently, seducing secrets from diplomats' wives while posing as a wealthy businessman. The rustle of silk gowns and clink of champagne glasses provide cover as he photographs military documents at embassy balls. His cologne mingles with cigar smoke in exclusive gentlemen's clubs where empire's fates are casually discussed. Riley worked for British intelligence, attempting to overthrow Lenin's government through elaborate schemes involving fake letters and forged documents. He once walked into the Kremlin itself, posing as a Bolshevik commissar, his heart surely pounding against his ribs as armed guards nodded respectfully. His final mission in 1925 led him back to Soviet Russia, where he vanished forever, possibly executed, possibly escaped to start yet another identity. Some say the fictional James Bond was inspired by Sidney Riley's adventures. Tonight, as you drift toward sleep, consider, which of your identities is the real you? You are riding through the misty hills of Virginia's Shenandoah Valley, where morning fog clings to horse pastures and the distant sound of church bells carries across rolling meadows. Here galloped a 17-year-old Southern belle whose charm and wit made her one of the Civil War's most daring spies. Belle Boyd, the Cleopatra of the Secession. Born into Virginia plantation society, she transformed her beauty and social connections into weapons for the Confederate cause. Imagine this scene. Crystal chandeliers tinkling softly as Union officers dance with the lovely Miss Boyd at grand balls, never suspecting she memorizes their casual conversations about troop movements. The swish of her silk petticoats conceals hidden pockets containing stolen military dispatches. Magnolia blossoms perfume the warm evening air as she flirts secrets from homesick soldiers longing for feminine company. Listen carefully. Her horse's hooves thunder through moonlit forests as she races to deliver intelligence to Confederate generals. Bullets whistle past her ears during one midnight ride when Union cavalry discovers her mission, but she escapes by jumping fences most men couldn't clear. Belle was arrested 6 times and imprisoned twice, but her theatrical performances before military tribunals, complete with tears and dramatic fainting spells, consistently won her freedom. She even fell in love with and married one of her Union captors. Sometimes the most dangerous weapons come wrapped in silk and sweetness. What hidden strengths might others underestimate in you? Dear friends, settle back into your pillows as we journey to the glamorous casinos of Monte Carlo, where the roulette wheel spins hypnotically and champagne bubbles catch the Mediterranean moonlight. You are about to meet Duško Popov, codenamed Tricycle, a Serbian playboy who lived a double life so extraordinary that Ian Fleming reportedly based James Bond on his adventures. Picture a man who seduced secrets from Nazi officers while secretly working for British intelligence, all while maintaining his cover as a wealthy, carefree socialite. Imagine the scene. Dice rolling across green felt tables while Popov, impeccably dressed in tailored evening wear, loses thousands of dollars to maintain his playboy facade. The clink of martini glasses and soft jazz music provide the perfect atmosphere for gathering intelligence from loose-lipped German agents who trust this charming bon vivant. Here's the detail that makes you pause. In 1941, the Germans sent Popov to Pearl Harbor to gather intelligence for what they claimed was routine reconnaissance. He dutifully reported this suspicious mission to the FBI, but his warnings were largely ignored. Months later, Pearl Harbor was attacked exactly as the German questionnaire had suggested. Listen to the gentle lapping of waves against his yacht as Popov sails between assignments, his life balanced precariously between luxury and mortal danger. He survived the war by convincing multiple intelligence agencies that he was exclusively working for them. Sometimes the most effective spies hide behind masks of apparent frivolity. What persona do you wear to navigate life's complexities? You are now walking through a Union Army camp at dawn, where canvas tents stretch across dewy fields and the smell of coffee mingles with wood smoke from cooking fires. Standing before you is a remarkable secret that fooled an entire army. Sarah Emma Edmonds, who spent 2 years fighting in the Civil War disguised as a man named Franklin Flint Thompson. Born in Canada, she fled an abusive home and discovered that male identity offered freedoms impossible for women in 1860s America. Picture this extraordinary deception. Her binding her chest with tight cloth strips each morning, the rough wool of Union blue scratching against hidden feminine curves. The distant sound of bugles calling reveille echoes across misty battlefields where she marched alongside men who never suspected their comrades' true identity. But Sarah's story grows more remarkable. She volunteered for spy missions behind Confederate lines, sometimes disguising herself as a woman again, other times as an enslaved person or Confederate soldier. Imagine her heart pounding as she applied theatrical makeup by candlelight, transforming from Franklin Thompson into whatever character her mission required. Listen carefully. The soft rustle of her stolen Confederate uniform as she creeps through enemy camps, gathering intelligence about troop positions and battle plans. Mosquitoes buzz around swamplands where she hides coded messages in hollow tree trunks. When illness threatened to expose her secret, she simply deserted her male identity and vanished, later writing best-selling memoirs of her adventures. Sometimes our greatest courage comes from living as our truest selves. What identity would you choose if society placed no limitations on your dreams? You are sitting in a modest Barcelona apartment where afternoon sunlight streams through lace curtains and the distant sound of flamenco guitar drifts up from the street below. Here lived a man whose imagination saved thousands of lives. Juan Pujol Garcia, codenamed Garbo by the British and Arabelle by the Germans. This Spanish chicken farmer turned himself into the most successful double agent of World War II, using nothing but creativity and audacious lies. Picture this incredible scenario. Pujol, who had never been to Britain, convincing German intelligence that he was their premier spy in London. His fingers dance across typewriter keys as he invents an entire network of fictional sub-agents, complete with detailed personalities and believable backstories. The soft patter of rain against windows provides a soundtrack as he crafts elaborate reports filled with useless but convincing intelligence. Imagine his relief when British intelligence finally contacted him. They had been intercepting his reports and marveling at how this amateur spy was completely bamboozling the German war machine. The scratch of his fountain pen fills quiet evenings as he writes hundreds of letters, each one carefully crafted to keep the Germans convinced while providing real intelligence to the Allies. Listen to this astonishing detail. Pujol's misinformation helped convince Hitler that D-Day would land at Calais rather than Normandy. His fictional reports kept German divisions away from the actual invasion beaches, possibly shortening the war by months. Sometimes the most powerful weapon is a well-told story. What stories do you tell yourself that shape your reality? Dear listeners, let the music wash over you as we enter the jazz clubs of 1920s Paris, where saxophone melodies float through smoke-filled air and sequined dresses shimmer under spotlight's golden glow. You are about to discover how America's loss became France's gain. Josephine Baker, the St. Louis-born dancer who found fame in Paris and used her celebrity status to spy for the French resistance. Born into poverty in 1906, she danced her way from segregated American vaudeville to European stardom, becoming the toast of Parisian society. Picture her legendary performances: banana skirts swaying as she dances with wild abandon, her infectious smile lighting up the Folies Bergère stage. The pop of champagne corks and rustle of evening programs provide atmosphere as diplomats and military officers compete for her attention, never suspecting that this charming entertainer memorizes their careless conversations about troop movements and strategic plans. Imagine the scene. Josephine at embassy parties, her laughter tinkling like silver bells as she flirts with Italian attachés and German officers. The soft whisper of silk gloves conceals messages written in invisible ink on sheet music. Her concert tours providing perfect cover for carrying intelligence across Nazi-occupied Europe. Listen carefully to this remarkable detail. She hid refugees in her chateau, adopted 12 children of different ethnicities to prove that racial harmony was possible, and refused to perform for segregated American audiences until the Civil Rights era. Josephine proved that sometimes the most effective resistance comes wrapped in joy and celebration. Tonight, what performance might you need to drop to reveal your authentic self? You are now walking through the snow-covered peaks of the Polish Tatras, where pine trees whisper ancient secrets and mountain streams babble softly beneath layers of ice. Meet Christina Skarbek, Britain's first female special agent, a Polish countess who became Churchill's favorite spy. Born in 1908 to aristocratic parents, she traded ballroom dancing for mountain climbing, using her athletic skills to ski across Nazi-occupied borders, carrying vital intelligence. Picture this breathtaking scene. Moonlight glinting off fresh snow as Christina glides silently through alpine forests, her breath forming small clouds in the crisp air. The soft crunch of snow beneath her skis masks the sound of her midnight journeys between resistance cells. Pine needles release their sharp, clean scent as she brushes past towering evergreens, her backpack containing coded messages that could change the war's trajectory. Imagine her charm working magic in Cairo's smoky cafes, where she recruited agents while sipping mint tea. The gentle clink of brass cups mingles with whispered conversations as she convinces skeptical resistance fighters to trust British intelligence. Her smile could melt hearts, but her courage could stop armies. Listen to this remarkable detail. When captured by the Gestapo, she bit her tongue until it bled, then convinced her captors she had tuberculosis by spitting blood. They released her rather than risk infection. Christina proved that sometimes the most dangerous climbs happen at sea level. What mountains in your life are waiting for you to scale them? Dear listeners, settle into your favorite reading chair as we enter the hushed corridors of Buckingham Palace, where oil paintings gaze down from gilded frames and Persian carpets muffle footsteps on marble floors. You are about to discover one of history's most shocking betrayals. Anthony Blunt, the Queen's art advisor who spent decades secretly serving Soviet intelligence. Born into privilege in 1907, he became a renowned art historian whose expertise in Renaissance masters concealed a very different kind of masterpiece: the perfect double life. Imagine this elegant deception. Blunt discussing Rembrandt's brushwork with Her Majesty, while mental blueprints of palace security dance behind his scholarly eyes. The soft tick of antique clocks measures time as he memorizes conversations about state secrets, filing away royal family details like precious artworks in his photographic memory. Picture him in Cambridge lecture halls, chalk dust floating through afternoon sunlight as he teaches aspiring art historians, some of whom he secretly recruits for Soviet intelligence. The rustle of turning pages in ancient libraries masks recruitment conversations disguised as academic discussions about Russian icons and socialist realism. Here's the detail that makes you pause. For 30 years, Blunt authenticated priceless paintings while simultaneously authenticating forged documents for his KGB handlers. His trained eye that could spot a fake Monet somehow convinced him that serving two masters was sustainable. When exposed in 1979, he lost his knighthood but kept his secrets about other Cambridge spies. Sometimes our greatest talents become our most dangerous vulnerabilities. What expertise might someone else use to manipulate you? You are now riding through the windswept grasslands of Manchuria, where wild horses run free beneath endless skies and traditional felt tents dot the horizon like scattered flowers. Here galloped a woman caught between two worlds, Yoshiko Kawashima, the Eastern Mata Hari, a Manchu princess who became Japan's most controversial female spy. Born Isen Jioro Xianyu in 1907, she was raised by Japanese foster parents who transformed this Chinese royal into a weapon against her own people. Picture this complex figure, silk kimonos rustling as she moves through Shanghai's neon-lit nightclubs, her laughter tinkling like wind chimes as she gathers intelligence from Chinese warlords and Japanese officers alike. The scent of jasmine tea mingles with cigarette smoke in exclusive gambling dens where empire's fates are decided over mahjong tiles. Listen carefully. The clip-clop of her horse's hooves echoes across frozen rivers as she leads cavalry charges during the Japanese invasion of Manchuria. Steam rises from her mount's nostrils in the bitter cold while she coordinates military operations, her breath forming crystals in the sub-zero air. Imagine the tragedy. A woman who wore men's military uniforms and claimed to be neither Chinese nor Japanese, but something entirely her own creation. She orchestrated political assassinations and helped establish the puppet state of Manchukuo, believing she was restoring her Manchu heritage while actually serving Japanese imperialism. Executed by Chinese forces in 1948, she died as conflicted as she had lived. Sometimes identity becomes a battlefield where loyalty has no clear winners. What parts of yourself feel caught between competing loyalties? Hey friends, dim those lights and imagine yourself in a London pub during the Blitz, where warm amber light spills from frosted windows and the distant rumble of air raid sirens mingles with the gentle clink of pint glasses. You are about to meet the most charming criminal-turned-spy in history, Eddie Chapman, codenamed Agent Zigzag, a professional safecracker who convinced both British and German intelligence services that he was their most valuable double agent. Born in 1914, he began his career burgling country estates before the war transformed him into something far more valuable, a walking, talking contradiction. Picture this remarkable transformation. Eddie's nimble fingers, once picking locks in moonlit mansions, now delicately handling explosive devices in his role as a German saboteur. The soft scrape of metal tools echoes through abandoned warehouses where he pretends to destroy British aircraft factories while actually helping MI5 stage elaborate deceptions. Imagine his infectious grin charming German intelligence officers in occupied Paris, champagne bubbling in crystal flutes as he spins tales of successful sabotage missions. The gentle jazz music from underground clubs masks conversations where he feeds carefully crafted misinformation to his Nazi handlers, all while secretly reporting back to his British controllers. Listen to this extraordinary detail. Chapman became so valuable to German intelligence that they awarded him the Iron Cross, making him possibly the only British citizen ever decorated by the Third Reich for services to espionage. Sometimes the best liars tell the most important truths. What mask do you wear that might actually reveal your authentic self? You are now waltzing through the marble ballrooms of wartime Madrid, where crystal chandeliers cast rainbow patterns on silk evening gowns and the soft melody of Spanish guitars drifts through open French doors. Meet Aline Griffith, an American fashion model who traded runways for spy networks, becoming one of the OSS's most glamorous undercover agents in neutral Spain. Born in Pearl River, New York, she arrived in Madrid in 1943 as a code clerk, but quickly proved that beauty and brains make an unbeatable combination in the espionage world. Picture this elegant scene. Aline gliding across polished dance floors in the arms of Nazi diplomats, her designer gown concealing microfilm in its hidden pockets. The rustle of taffeta and whisper of silk stockings provide cover as she memorizes classified conversations about German submarine positions and troop movements. Her perfume, Chanel No. 5, mingles with cigar smoke from Spanish officials who never suspect that this charming American socialite photographs documents during powder room visits. Imagine the thrill. champagne reception at the German embassy where she plants listening devices behind oil paintings while complimenting the ambassador's wife on her jewelry collection. The soft pop of champagne corks masks the nearly inaudible click of her miniature camera, capturing secret communications. Listen to this fairy tale twist. After the war, Aileen married a Spanish count, becoming the Countess of Romanones, trading her spy credentials for a title but never losing her taste for adventure. Sometimes the most effective disguises look exactly like dreams coming true. What dreams might actually be preparing you for unexpected adventures? Dear listeners, pull that soft blanket closer as we journey to colonial Boston, where cobblestone streets echo with the clip-clop of horse hooves and whale oil lamps flicker in frost-covered windows. You are about to discover America's first double agent, Benjamin Church, a respected physician and founding member of the Sons of Liberty who secretly served British intelligence throughout the Revolutionary War. Born in Rhode Island in 1734, he attended Harvard and London medical schools, returning to Boston as a trusted community leader with hidden loyalties. Picture this ultimate betrayal. Dr. Church treating wounded patriots after the Boston Massacre, his gentle hands bandaging injuries, while his mind catalogs rebel capabilities for his British handlers. The soft scratch of his quill pen fills quiet study rooms as he writes medical prescriptions by day and encrypted intelligence reports by night. Candlelight flickers across pages where healing formulas and treasonous communications share the same parchment. Imagine his presence at secret Sons of Liberty meetings, nodding gravely as Samuel Adams plans acts of resistance, all while memorizing details to report to British commanders. The crackle of fireplace logs provides atmosphere as conspirators unknowingly plan their strategies in front of their greatest enemy. Listen to this chilling detail. Church likely informed the British about Paul Revere's planned midnight ride, though fortunately his warning arrived too late to prevent the famous alarm. Discovered in 1775 when his coded letter was intercepted, he became the first American tried for treason. Sometimes those closest to our causes pose the greatest dangers. How do you distinguish between genuine allies and hidden enemies? You are now parachuting through moonlit skies over occupied France, where silver clouds drift beneath your feet, and the patchwork of sleeping villages spreads out like a peaceful quilt below. Floating down to meet you is Christine Granville, born Christina Skarbek in Poland, Britain's longest-serving female agent, and perhaps its most fearless. We met her briefly before, but her story deserves a deeper telling. Picture her landing softly in French meadows, where lavender scents the night air, her parachute silk billowing like a ghostly flower against star-scattered darkness. Imagine this scene of incredible courage. Christine approaching a German prison where her fellow agents await execution. The soft murmur of her voice, speaking flawless German, convinces guards that she's a high-ranking Gestapo officer conducting surprise inspections. Keys jangle against stone walls as nervous sentries unlock cell doors, never suspecting that this confident woman in stolen Nazi uniform has no authority beyond her remarkable acting ability. Listen to the gentle splash of alpine streams as she guides escaped prisoners through mountain passes, her intimate knowledge of European geography making her an irreplaceable guide through Nazi-occupied territories. Pine needles cushion their footsteps as she leads refugees to safety, her whispered encouragements carrying hope through forests thick with danger. Here's the heartbreaking detail. After surviving years of mortal peril, Christine was murdered in 1952 by a rejected suitor in a London hotel, dying not from enemy bullets, but from obsessive love. Sometimes surviving war is easier than surviving peace. What battles have you won that prepared you for entirely different challenges? You are sitting in a quiet gentleman's club in London's West End, where leather armchairs creak softly, and the gentle rustle of newspaper pages mingles with the distant clink of brandy snifters. Before you sits one of history's most successful double agents, Harold Kim Philby, the charming British intelligence officer who spent 30 years secretly serving the Soviet Union while rising to the highest levels of MI6. Born in India in 1912 to a distinguished family, he was educated at Cambridge, where radical politics first captured his imagination. Picture this long deception. Philby sipping afternoon tea in intelligence briefings, his cultured voice discussing Soviet threats while mentally composing reports for his KGB handlers. The soft scratch of fountain pens on official documents masks his true loyalty as he stamps "top secret" on files destined for Moscow. Pipe tobacco smoke creates aromatic clouds that mirror the fog of his double life. Imagine him in Washington during the early Cold War, working closely with CIA counterparts while systematically betraying Western intelligence operations. The gentle hum of secure telephones carries conversations about Soviet capabilities, conversations that Philby faithfully reports to the very adversaries they're discussing. Listen to this devastating detail. Philby's intelligence likely led to the deaths of dozens of Western agents behind the Iron Curtain. His charming exterior and impeccable credentials made him above suspicion for decades. When finally exposed in 1963, he defected to Moscow, spending his final years as a celebrated but isolated figure in Soviet intelligence. Sometimes the most trusted voices whisper the deadliest secrets. Whom do you trust completely and why? Hey friends, let that evening breeze carry you to the rugged hills of rural France, where resistance fighters move like shadows through ancient forests, and the scent of wild thyme mingles with gun oil and determination. You are about to meet the White Mouse, Nancy Wake, a New Zealand-born journalist who became the Gestapo's most wanted person, with a bounty of 5 million francs on her head. Born in 1912, she witnessed Nazi brutality firsthand as a reporter in Vienna, then decided that observing evil wasn't enough. She had to fight it. Picture this extraordinary woman, cycling hundreds of kilometers through occupied territory with coded messages hidden in her bicycle frame, her legs pumping rhythmically as she pedals past German checkpoints with nothing but charm and false papers protecting her. The soft whir of bicycle wheels on cobblestone roads provides rhythm for her dangerous journeys between resistance cells. Imagine her parachuting back into France as an SOE agent, her training in guerrilla warfare transforming this elegant socialite into a deadly commando. The whisper of wind through parachute silk announces her return as she lands in moonlit fields where partisan fighters wait with supplies and weapons for sabotage missions. Listen to this incredible detail. Nancy once cycled over 500 kilometers in 72 hours to replace vital radio codes, crossing Nazi-held territory with nothing but her wits and a bicycle. Her legs burned with exhaustion, but her spirit never wavered. The Gestapo never caught their White Mouse. She was simply too quick, too clever, too determined. Sometimes the hunted become the most dangerous hunters. What would motivate you to risk everything for a cause greater than yourself? Dear listeners, close your eyes and imagine yourself walking through Moscow's Red Square on a snowy winter evening, where the Kremlin's towers glow red against the darkening sky, and your footsteps echo softly on frost-covered stones. You are about to discover the Soviet colonel who may have prevented nuclear war, Oleg Penkovsky, a GRU intelligence officer who secretly provided crucial military secrets to British and American intelligence during the height of the Cold War. Born in 1919, he watched Stalin's purges destroy his family and came to believe that his own government posed a greater threat to humanity than any foreign enemy. Picture this momentous decision. Penkovsky sitting in his modest Moscow apartment, steam rising from his tea glass as he contemplates treason against everything he was raised to serve. The soft tick of his wall clock measures moments that could change history as he photographs top-secret documents about Soviet missile capabilities, each flash of his miniature camera potentially preventing global catastrophe. Imagine clandestine meetings in London parks, where autumn leaves rustle underfoot as he passes microfilm to MI6 handlers through elaborate brush contacts. The gentle splash of duck ponds masks conversations that reveal Soviet weaknesses during the Cuban Missile Crisis, intelligence that helped President Kennedy make informed decisions about nuclear brinkmanship. Listen to this crucial detail. Penkovsky's intelligence about Soviet missile readiness, or lack thereof, may have convinced Kennedy that Khrushchev was bluffing, preventing nuclear escalation that could have ended civilization. Executed in 1963, Penkovsky died believing he had served humanity's highest cause. Sometimes betraying your country means serving the world. Tonight, what higher loyalty might call you beyond familiar boundaries? Hey friends, if you love this series of incredible hidden heroes, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell. We've got 80 more amazing stories coming your way. You are now reclining in a plush velvet seat at a 1940s Hollywood movie theater, where silver screen glamour mingles with the gentle whir of film projectors and the soft rustle of silk evening gowns. Before you appears one of cinema's most beautiful faces, Hedy Lamarr, the Austrian-born actress whose real genius lay not in her performances, but in her scientific mind. Born Hedwig Kiesler in 1914, she fled Nazi-occupied Austria and transformed herself into a Hollywood icon, all while harboring a secret passion for invention that would quietly change the world. Picture this extraordinary paradox. Hedy memorizing dialogue by day while sketching frequency-hopping blueprints by moonlight, her manicured fingers drawing circuit diagrams between takes on movie sets. The soft scratch of her pencil on engineering paper mingles with distant orchestra music as she works alone in her Beverly Hills mansion, developing technology that seems like pure science fiction. Imagine her dinner parties where she discusses torpedo guidance systems with guests who expect only glamorous small talk. The clink of crystal champagne flutes masks conversations about radio frequencies and anti-jamming devices that could revolutionize naval warfare. Listen to this remarkable detail. Hedy's frequency-hopping invention, co-developed with composer George Antheil, became foundational technology for Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth, innovations we use every day without knowing their Hollywood origins. She proved that beauty and brilliance aren't opposites but perfect partners in disguise. Sometimes our public's personas hide our most revolutionary private thoughts. What hidden talents might you be keeping in the shadows? Dear listeners, settle deeper into your pillows as we enter the shadowy corridors of Nazi Germany's foreign ministry, where marble floors echo with polished boots and the scent of leather briefcases mingles with fear. You are about to meet one of World War II's most unlikely heroes, Fritz Kolbe, a mid-level German diplomat who became the Allies' most valuable spy inside the Third Reich. Born in 1900 to a saddlemaker's family, he joined the foreign ministry as a clerk, never imagining that his filing cabinet access would help win a world war. Picture this quiet rebellion. Fritz working late into the night in his modest Berlin office, the soft tick of his desk clock measuring moments as he photographs top-secret diplomatic cables by lamplight. His hands shake slightly, not from fear, but from the weight of knowing that each stolen document might save thousands of lives. Imagine his dangerous journeys to neutral Switzerland, where he meets Alan Dulles in secluded alpine cafes. The gentle clink of coffee cups and mountain wind through pine trees provide cover as he passes microfilm containing Hitler's military strategies, diplomatic negotiations, and Holocaust documentation. Listen to this extraordinary detail. Fritz smuggled over 1,600 classified documents to the Allies, including advance warning of the Battle of the Bulge and details about V-2 rocket development. His intelligence helped shorten the war by months. Working entirely without payment or recognition, he risked everything simply because he believed it was right. Sometimes the most profound courage looks exactly like doing your job. What ordinary position might give you extraordinary opportunities to help others? You are now floating down the Danube River on a moonlit night, where medieval castles cast long shadows on rippling water and the soft splash of oars mingles with distant church bells across the Austrian countryside. Meet Stephanie Rader, an Austrian countess who used her aristocratic connections to spy for the British during World War I. Born into Habsburg nobility in 1883, she possessed something invaluable to intelligence services: unquestioned access to the highest levels of Austro-Hungarian society, where military secrets flowed as freely as champagne at embassy balls. Picture this elegant deception: Stephanie waltzing through Vienna's grandest ballrooms, her silk gown rustling as she dances with Austrian generals and German officers. The soft melody of Strauss waltzes masks her memorization of casual conversations about troop movements and battle plans. Her jeweled earrings catch candlelight as she leans close to hear classified whispers meant only for trusted aristocrats. Imagine her secret life: hidden compartments in her Baroque mansion where she develops photographs of stolen military documents, the sharp scent of chemical developer mingling with the fragrance of her rose garden visible through lace curtains. Listen to this fascinating detail. Stephanie used her status as a grieving widow — her husband died early in the war — to gain sympathy and access to even more sensitive information. Officers shared secrets with her, believing they were comforting a tragic noblewoman rather than briefing an enemy agent. Her intelligence helped the British understand Austrian military capabilities and strategic planning throughout the conflict. Sometimes our sorrows become doorways to unexpected purposes. What losses in your life might actually be preparing you for future opportunities? Hey friends, let that evening breeze carry you to a small apartment in Lisbon, where fado music drifts through narrow streets and the Atlantic Ocean whispers against ancient harbor walls. You're revisiting the extraordinary Juan Pujol Garcia, but this time discovering how a Spanish chicken farmer's imagination literally helped win World War II. We met him briefly before, but his story deserves deeper exploration. Picture this remarkable man sitting at his modest kitchen table, creating an entire fictional spy network so convincing that German intelligence paid him handsomely for completely imaginary information. Imagine his daily routine: Garcia typing elaborate reports about non-existent British military installations, while his neighbors assume he's simply writing letters to relatives. The soft clatter of typewriter keys fills quiet afternoons as he invents detailed personalities for 27 fictional subagents, complete with believable backstories and plausible intelligence reports. Listen to this incredible achievement. His misinformation convinced Hitler to keep 2 entire armored divisions away from Normandy during D-Day, believing the real invasion would come at Calais. The gentle scratch of his fountain pen signing false documents may have saved more Allied lives than any single military operation. Picture the ultimate irony. Germany awarded him the Iron Cross for his excellent espionage work, while Britain honored him with the Order of the British Empire, making him possibly the only person ever decorated by both sides for the same fictional achievements. Sometimes the most powerful truths are built from carefully crafted lies. What stories do you tell yourself that shape your reality more than facts do? You are now walking through the French countryside at dawn, where morning mist clings to wheat fields and the distant sound of church bells carries across rolling hills dotted with red-roofed farmhouses. Here moved a young woman whose courage burned brighter than fear, Violette Szabo, a British-French SOE agent whose 2 missions into occupied France became legendary examples of wartime heroism. Born in Paris in 1921 to an English father and French mother, she joined the resistance after her husband, a French Foreign Legion officer, was killed at El Alamein. Picture this scene of extraordinary bravery. Violette parachuting into Normandy just days after D-Day, her silk parachute billowing like a pale flower against the star-filled sky. The soft whisper of wind through fabric announces her arrival as she lands in moonlit meadows where French resistance fighters wait with bicycles and false identity papers. Imagine her cycling through occupied villages, her blonde hair hidden beneath a peasant headscarf, her backpack containing plastic explosives disguised as soap bars. The gentle tick of bicycle wheels on cobblestones masks the deadly cargo she carries to sabotage German communication lines. Listen to this heartbreaking detail. Captured during her second mission after a fierce gun battle, Violette was tortured by the Gestapo but never revealed a single operational secret or compromised any fellow agents. Executed at Ravensbrück concentration camp in 1945, she was posthumously awarded the George Cross for exceptional courage. Sometimes love transforms grief into unshakable determination. What loss might be calling you toward unexpected courage? Dear listeners, close your eyes and imagine yourself in 1950s Brooklyn, where brownstone apartments line tree-shaded streets, and the gentle hum of television sets mingles with children playing hopscotch on summer sidewalks. You are about to discover the perfect neighbor who was actually the perfect spy. Rudolf Abel, a Soviet intelligence officer who spent 9 years living as an ordinary American artist while coordinating one of the most successful espionage networks in Cold War history. Born William Fisher in England in 1903, he became Emil Goldfuss, the friendly photographer who developed film in his modest Brooklyn studio. Picture this masterful deception. Abel chatting with neighbors about baseball scores while his basement darkroom conceals sophisticated radio equipment for communicating with Moscow. The soft splash of chemical developer and gentle hum of enlarger fans mask the transmission of atomic secrets and military intelligence. His easel holds landscape paintings that look perfectly innocent until you notice the microscopic coded messages hidden in paint layers. Imagine his daily routine: morning coffee with fellow artists discussing abstract expressionism while mentally composing reports about American nuclear capabilities. The rustle of art supply catalogs conceals hollowed-out coins and secret writing materials more sophisticated than anything in spy novels. Listen to this remarkable detail. Abel operated undetected for nearly a decade, using dead drops in Central Park and coded radio transmissions that FBI counterintelligence never detected. His cover was so perfect that neighbors defended him even after his arrest. Exchanged for U-2 pilot Francis Gary Powers in 1962, he returned to Moscow as a hero. Sometimes the most dangerous enemies look exactly like ideal neighbors. How well do you really know the people around you? You are now standing in a quiet English garden where roses climb over white picket fences, and the gentle buzz of bees mingles with the soft rustle of newspaper pages on a peaceful Sunday afternoon. Before you tends her flowers an elderly grandmother whose 40-year secret would shock the world. Melita Norwood, codenamed Ola, the most successful female spy in Soviet intelligence history. Born in 1912, she worked as a secretary at the British Non-Ferrous Metals Research Association, a job that gave her access to atomic weapons research that she faithfully copied for the KGB for 4 decades. Picture this quiet betrayal. Melita typing routine correspondence by day while photographing classified nuclear research documents by night, her living room transformed into a covert photography studio. The soft click of her miniature camera mingles with the tick of her mantel clock as she documents Britain's atomic secrets, page by page, year after year. Imagine her Sunday routine, baking scones for church fundraisers, while microfilm containing thermonuclear weapons designs sits hidden in her handbag. The scent of fresh baking bread masks the presence of state secrets that could alter the global balance of power. Listen to this stunning detail. Melita's intelligence helped the Soviet Union develop nuclear weapons years ahead of schedule, possibly preventing American nuclear dominance during the early Cold War period. Exposed only in 1999 at age 87, she remained unrepentant, insisting she had helped prevent nuclear war by leveling the playing field. Sometimes the most profound political acts happen in the most ordinary kitchens. What beliefs would motivate you to live a double life for decades? Hey friends, let that gentle evening light carry you to the outskirts of occupied Warsaw, where cobblestone streets echo with the distant sound of church bells and the scent of linden trees mingles with the weight of wartime resistance. You are about to meet perhaps history's most extraordinary volunteer. Witold Pilecki, the Polish cavalry officer who deliberately got himself arrested and sent to Auschwitz to gather intelligence and organize resistance from inside history's most notorious concentration camp. Born in 1901, he made a decision that defies comprehension, choosing to enter hell in order to fight it from within. Picture this unimaginable courage. Pilecki allowing himself to be captured during a Warsaw street roundup, his hands shaking not from fear, but from the weight of his secret mission. The rattle of train wheels on tracks carries him toward Auschwitz while he memorizes everything: guard rotations, camp layout, prisoner conditions, details that will become crucial intelligence reports. Imagine his clandestine activities, organizing resistance cells while pretending to be a broken prisoner, his whispered conversations and work details planning sabotage operations and escape routes. The soft scratch of hidden pencils on scraps of paper creates coded messages smuggled out in hollowed-out wooden blocks. Listen to this incredible detail. Pilecki spent 2.5 years in Auschwitz, sending detailed reports about the Holocaust to London while building an underground network of 500 prisoners ready for armed uprising. His reports were among the first to document Nazi genocide systematically. Sometimes the greatest courage means walking into darkness to bring back light. What situation would motivate you to volunteer for certain danger? You are now riding through the sun-drenched hills of Ottoman Palestine, where olive groves stretch toward azure Mediterranean horizons, and the scent of wild sage mingles with sea breezes carrying ancient stories. Meet Sarah Aronson, the Jewish agronomist whose love for her homeland transformed her into one of World War I's most daring spies. Born in 1890 in Zichron Yaakov, she witnessed Ottoman atrocities against Armenians and decided that British victory offered the only hope for Jewish survival in Palestine. Picture this dangerous dedication. Sarah riding her horse across Palestinian countryside, ostensibly collecting botanical samples while actually mapping Ottoman military positions. The soft thud of hoofbeats on dusty paths masks her true mission as she memorizes troop locations and supply routes. Her collection baskets conceal coded messages destined for British intelligence in Egypt. Imagine her secret life, transforming her family's agricultural research station into headquarters for Nili, a Jewish spy network that provided crucial intelligence about Ottoman defenses. The gentle scratch of scientific instruments mingles with the rustle of maps as she coordinates intelligence gathering across the eastern Mediterranean. Listen to this heartbreaking detail. When Ottoman authorities discovered the spy ring in 1917, Sarah was captured and tortured for 4 days. Rather than betray her fellow agents, she managed to shoot herself with a hidden pistol, dying 3 days later without revealing a single secret. Her intelligence helped General Allenby's forces conquer Palestine, changing Middle Eastern history forever. Sometimes love of homeland demands the ultimate sacrifice. What cause would inspire you to risk everything for future generations? Dear listeners, let the Mediterranean moonlight wash over you as we sail toward the glamorous casinos of Monte Carlo, where roulette wheels spin like fate itself, and the gentle splash of waves mingles with distant jazz music. You're meeting again the remarkable Dusan tricycle Popov, but this time discovering how a Serbian lawyer's playboy persona became the perfect cover for one of World War II's most successful triple agents. Born in 1912, he convinced German, British, and Yugoslav intelligence services that he was working exclusively for them, a juggling act that required extraordinary psychological skill. Picture this elaborate performance: Popov losing spectacular sums at baccarat tables while German intelligence officers watch approvingly, believing his gambling debts make him desperate enough to be reliable. The soft clink of poker chips and whisper of dealing cards mask conversations where he feeds carefully crafted misinformation to Nazi handlers. Imagine his London meetings, sipping brandy in exclusive gentlemen's clubs while briefing MI5 controllers about German intelligence priorities. The crackle of fireplace logs provides atmosphere as he reveals which Allied operations have been compromised and which German agents are operating in Britain. Listen to this remarkable detail. Popov's questionnaire about Pearl Harbor defenses, given to him by German intelligence in 1941, provided clear warning of Japanese attack plans, intelligence that tragically wasn't fully appreciated until after December 7th. His triple agent status allowed him to protect Yugoslav partisans while seeming to serve Nazi interests. Sometimes the most complex loyalties create the most effective resistance. How many different versions of yourself do you present to different people? You are now stepping into the smoky elegance of a Washington, D.C. embassy reception, where crystal chandeliers cast rainbow patterns on marble floors, and the gentle murmur of diplomatic conversations mingles with soft piano melodies. Meet Amy Elizabeth Thorpe, codenamed Cynthia, an American socialite whose beauty and charm became weapons in the intelligence war against fascism. Born in Minneapolis in 1910, she discovered that her natural gift for romance could unlock the most closely guarded secrets of enemy nations during World War II. Picture this sophisticated operation: Cynthia waltzing through embassy ballrooms in silk evening gowns, her laughter tinkling like silver bells as she captivates Italian naval attachés and Vichy French diplomats. The soft rustle of taffeta conceals miniature cameras, while her perfume, White Shoulders, mingles with cigar smoke from officials who mistake seduction for innocent flirtation. Imagine her greatest triumph: convincing Captain Charles Bruce, a married Vichy French naval officer, to steal cipher codes from his own embassy. The gentle tick of the embassy's grandfather clock measures midnight hours as they photograph classified documents together, their forbidden romance providing perfect cover for espionage. Listen to this remarkable detail. Cynthia's stolen French naval codes enabled Allied forces to break Vichy communications, contributing directly to the success of Operation Torch in North Africa. She proved that sometimes the most powerful intelligence operations are built on genuine human connections rather than cold calculation. Sometimes love and duty intertwine in ways that change history's course. What relationships in your life might be more significant than they initially appear? Dear listeners, settle into your most comfortable chair as we enter the beige corridors of 1980s CIA headquarters in Langley, where fluorescent lights hum softly and the shuffle of classified papers mingles with the distant sound of secure telephones. You are about to discover how a mediocre intelligence officer became one of America's most damaging traitors, Aldrich Ames, whose financial troubles and wounded pride transformed him into a Soviet asset for nearly a decade. Born in 1941, he joined the CIA in 1962, spending 30 years in counterintelligence while nursing grievances about recognition and money. Picture this devastating betrayal. Ames sitting in his modest government cubicle, typing routine reports while mentally cataloging every Soviet agent working for the CIA. The soft click of computer keys mingles with coffee percolating in break rooms as he prepares lists of American assets, real people whose names he plans to sell for cash. Imagine his clandestine meetings in Washington parks, where autumn leaves crunch underfoot as he passes manila envelopes containing death sentences disguised as intelligence reports. The gentle splash of duck ponds masks conversations that will doom dozens of brave men and women behind the Iron Curtain. Listen to this tragic detail. Ames's betrayals led to the execution of at least 10 Soviet citizens who had risked everything to spy for America. His greed cost more American intelligence assets their lives than any single traitor in CIA history. Arrested in 1994, he received life imprisonment for espionage that devastated U.S. intelligence capabilities for years. Sometimes the greatest enemies come from within our most trusted institutions. What temptations might test your loyalty to your deepest principles? Hey friends, let that warm afternoon sunlight carry you to a cozy English countryside cottage, where children's laughter drifts through open windows and the scent of freshly baked chocolate cake mingles with the rustle of turning pages. You might be wondering how the beloved author of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory became a British intelligence operative, right? Meet Roald Dahl, whose wartime espionage career was as imaginative as his children's stories. Born in Wales in 1916, he crashed his RAF fighter in the Egyptian desert and found himself recruited for a different kind of mission, charming secrets from Washington's elite. Picture this delightful deception. Dahl attending glamorous Georgetown dinner parties, his tall frame and RAF uniform making him irresistible to wealthy American socialites. The clink of wine glasses and soft jazz music provide cover as he gathers intelligence about American political sentiment and isolationist movements, all while seeming like nothing more than a charming war hero with fascinating stories. Imagine his methods, spinning tales about aerial combat that captivate dinner guests while he memorizes their casual comments about industrial production and political connections. His gift for storytelling makes him the perfect listener. Everyone wants to share secrets with such an entertaining companion. Listen to this wonderful detail. Dahl's intelligence reports about American public opinion and political figures helped British intelligence understand how to maintain U.S. support for the war effort. After the war, he channeled his imagination into creating magical worlds for children rather than intelligence reports. Sometimes our greatest talents serve unexpected purposes before finding their true calling. What skills do you possess that might be more versatile than you realize? You are now floating through the mist-covered gardens of Beijing's Forbidden City, where ancient pavilions reflect in still ponds, and the soft whisper of silk robes mingles with distant temple bells across the sleeping capital. Meet Shi Pei Pu, the Chinese opera singer whose 20-year deception of a French diplomat became one of espionage history's most extraordinary love stories. Born in 1938, Shi performed traditional Peking opera, specializing in female roles that required such convincing feminine portrayal that the line between performance and reality became beautifully blurred. Picture this incredible romance. Shi meeting Bernard Boursicot, a young French embassy worker, at a diplomatic reception in 1964. The soft melody of traditional Chinese music masks the beginning of a relationship built on the most elaborate deception imaginable. She convincing Boursicot that he was actually a woman living disguised as a man in conservative Chinese society. Imagine their secret meetings, Shi maintaining this feminine persona through 20 years of relationship, even producing a child, actually purchased from a Xinjiang family, to complete the illusion. The gentle rustle of silk costumes and delicate scent of jasmine tea create atmosphere for conversations where love and espionage become indistinguishable. Listen to this remarkable detail. Boursiquot passed classified French diplomatic and military secrets to Xi for 2 decades, believing he was helping his beloved girlfriend escape to France rather than serving Chinese intelligence. Their story inspired the play M. Butterfly and proved that the most powerful intelligence operations sometimes spring from genuine emotion. Sometimes the deepest truths emerge from the most elaborate performances. What aspects of yourself do you perform so well that they become authentic? Dear listeners, close your eyes and imagine yourself in a trendy Manhattan coffee shop where laptops glow softly and the gentle hiss of espresso machines mingles with conversations about art galleries and startup ventures. You are about to meet the 21st century's most photogenic spy, Anna Chapman, the Russian agent whose social media savvy and millennial lifestyle made her the perfect deep-cover operative for the digital age. Born Anna Kushchenko in 1982, she embodied everything American popular culture celebrated: youth, beauty, entrepreneurship, and social networking expertise. Picture this modern espionage: Anna posting Instagram photos from trendy New York restaurants while using invisible ink and encrypted wireless communications to contact her SVR handlers. The soft tap of her manicured fingers on laptop keyboards creates social media content that provides perfect cover for intelligence gathering among Manhattan's financial and tech elite. Imagine her networking events: Anna mingling at startup conferences and gallery openings, her red hair catching gallery lighting as she collects business cards from venture capitalists and government contractors. The clink of wine glasses at art openings masks her memorization of conversations about emerging technologies and defense contracts. Listen to this fascinating detail. Anna's real estate business and social networking provided natural cover for approaching potential intelligence targets without raising suspicion. Her generation's comfort with digital communication made traditional spy tradecraft almost unnecessary. Arrested in 2010 as part of the Illegals program, she was exchanged for Russian prisoners and became a television personality in Moscow. Sometimes the most effective disguises are the ones that look exactly like success. What aspects of modern life provide perfect cover for hidden agendas? You are now walking through the rain-soaked streets of Cold War Berlin, where neon signs reflect in puddles and the distant sound of jazz music drifts from basement clubs in a city divided by walls and suspicion. Meet George Blake, the British intelligence officer whose 40-year career included one of the most dramatic prison escapes in espionage history. Born George Bihar in Rotterdam in 1922, he survived Nazi occupation and joined British intelligence, only to be captured during the Korean War and emerge as a convinced communist working for the KGB. Picture this ultimate betrayal: Blake sitting in SIS headquarters in London, his fountain pen scratching across classified documents as he copies every detail for his Soviet handlers. The soft tick of office clocks measures moments while he photographs agent lists and operational plans, his clearance level giving him access to Britain's most sensitive intelligence operations. Imagine his imprisonment. Convicted in 1961 and sentenced to 42 years, Blake spent 5 years in Wormwood Scrubs prison before executing one of history's most audacious escapes. The gentle patter of October rain against cell windows masks the sound of him loosening iron bars and dropping into the prison yard where Confederates wait with a getaway car. Listen to this remarkable detail. Blake's escape involved sliding down a makeshift rope ladder and hiding in a specially constructed compartment of a Humber car that smuggled him across Western Europe to East Berlin. He lived quietly in Moscow until his death in 2020, age 98. Sometimes the longest journeys begin with the shortest drops to freedom. What walls in your life might have hidden doors you haven't discovered yet? Hey friends, Let that evening breeze carry you to the snow-covered steppes of Siberia, where the aurora borealis dances across star-filled skies and the soft crunch of snow beneath felt boots echoes across endless white horizons. You are about to discover one of the Soviet Union's most unlikely heroines, Nadezhda Sukhanova, a collective farm worker who became an intelligence courier during World War II's most desperate moments. Born in a remote Siberian village in 1918, she possessed something invaluable: intimate knowledge of wilderness survival and an ability to move invisibly through landscapes that defeated even experienced soldiers. Picture this extraordinary courage. Nadezhda skiing through blizzards with intelligence reports sewn into her padded winter coat, her breath forming ice crystals as she navigates by stars across frozen rivers and through forest paths known only to local hunters. The soft whisper of skis on powder snow masks her passage as she carries vital communications between isolated partisan units. Imagine her camouflage, appearing to be nothing more than a peasant woman gathering firewood or hunting rabbits, her sled containing hidden compartments with ammunition, medical supplies, and coded messages that keep resistance networks alive through the brutal Russian winter. Listen to this incredible detail. Nadezhda completed over 50 courier missions through Nazi-occupied territory, never losing a single message or failing to reach her destination, despite traveling hundreds of kilometers through enemy-controlled wilderness. Her knowledge of traditional Siberian survival techniques, reading weather patterns, finding shelter, navigating without instruments, proved more valuable than formal military training. Sometimes the most sophisticated intelligence operations depend on the most ancient skills. What traditional knowledge do you possess that might be more valuable than modern alternatives? You are now standing in the ornate study of the British ambassador's residence in wartime Ankara, where Persian carpets muffle footsteps, and the soft glow of table lamps illuminates leather-bound diplomatic pouches containing the secrets of nations. Meet Eliasa Bosna, codenamed Cicero, an Albanian valet whose access to classified documents made him Nazi Germany's most valuable spy in neutral Turkey. Born in 1904, he served British Ambassador Sir Hugh Knatchbull Hugeson with perfect discretion while secretly photographing the most sensitive Allied communications of World War II. Picture this domestic deception. Bosna polishing silver tea services while memorizing the combination to his employer's personal safe, his servant's uniform providing perfect invisibility as he moves through rooms containing diplomatic pouches and classified telegrams. The soft tick of grandfather clocks measures moments as he waits for opportunities to photograph documents that could change the war's outcome. Imagine his technique. Using a miniature Leica camera hidden in his cleaning supplies, Bosna developed photographs in the embassy's darkroom, convincing staff he was pursuing photography as a hobby. The gentle splash of developer chemicals masks his creation of intelligence materials that German operatives pay for with suitcases of British pounds. Listen to this ironic detail. Bosna's intelligence was so valuable that German intelligence paid him the equivalent of millions in today's currency, but the bills were expertly forged British pounds, meaning his Nazi handlers unknowingly swindled their own agent. His photographs revealed Allied plans for the Tehran Conference and D-Day preparations. Sometimes the most trusted positions provide the greatest opportunities for betrayal. What access do you have that you might be taking for granted? Dear listeners, let the aroma of herbs and spices carry you to a sunny French kitchen, where copper pots gleam on stone counters, and the gentle bubble of simmering stocks mingles with the rustle of recipe cards and cookbook pages. You might be wondering how America's beloved cookbook author served her country before she served coq au vin, right? Meet Julia Child, the woman who taught America to cook, but first learned to create chaos for enemy forces during World War II. Born Julia McWilliams in 1912, She joined the Office of Strategic Services and spent the war developing creative solutions to unconventional problems. Picture this unusual espionage. Julia working in OSS research kitchens, her tall frame bent over laboratory tables where she develops shark repellent for underwater demolition teams. The soft scratch of her pencil on research notes mingles with the gentle hum of chemical equipment as she tests compounds that will protect allied divers from curious predators. Imagine her other inventions. Julia creating recipes for explosive devices disguised as everyday items, her methodical approach to cooking translating perfectly to precision in pyrotechnics. The same attention to detail that would later perfect her bœuf bourguignon ensures that her camouflaged explosives detonate exactly when and where intended. Listen to this delightful detail. Julia's shark repellent formula was so effective that the U.S. Navy used it throughout the war, and her systematic approach to problem-solving made her one of OSS's most reliable researchers. After the war, she channeled her precision and patience into mastering French cuisine. Sometimes our greatest talents reveal themselves through completely unexpected challenges. What skills have you developed that might transfer to entirely different fields? You are now riding the Orient Express through the misty countryside of Cold War Europe, where compartment windows frame passing villages and the gentle rhythm of wheels on tracks mingles with the soft clink of crystal glasses in the dining car. Meet Greyville Wynne, a British businessman whose sales trips behind the Iron Curtain concealed one of the most important intelligence operations of the Cold War. Born in 1919, he ran a modest engineering company that provided perfect cover for regular travel to Soviet-controlled territories during the most dangerous years of nuclear standoff. Picture this commercial espionage. Wynne discussing industrial equipment contracts with Soviet officials while secretly coordinating with Colonel Oleg Penkovsky, his Russian contact, who provided crucial intelligence about Soviet missile capabilities. The soft rustle of technical manuals and gentle scratch of fountain pens on contracts mask conversations that could prevent nuclear war. Imagine their dangerous partnership. Wynne and Penkovsky meeting in Moscow hotel bars, their discussions about machinery specifications concealing the transfer of microfilm containing Soviet military secrets. The clink of vodka glasses and background accordion music provide cover for intelligence exchanges that reveal Soviet nuclear weaknesses to Western intelligence services. Listen to this crucial detail. Wynne's intelligence from Penkovsky helped President Kennedy understand Soviet limitations during the Cuban Missile Crisis, contributing to peaceful resolution of history's closest approach to nuclear war. Arrested in 1962 and imprisoned in Soviet jails, Wynne was exchanged for Soviet spy Conan Molody in 1964. Sometimes the most important conversations happen over the most ordinary business deals. What routine interactions in your life might have deeper significance than you realize? Hey friends, if you love this series of incredible hidden heroes, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell. We've got 60 more amazing stories coming your way. You are now cycling down a moonlit country lane in occupied France, where ancient stone farmhouses stand silhouetted against star-filled skies, and the scent of lavender mingles with the distant sound of church bells marking midnight. Meet Lise de Bessac, a Mauritian-born SOE agent whose 3 years in occupied France made her one of Britain's most successful female operatives. Born in 1905, she spoke flawless French and possessed an invaluable quality for wartime espionage: the ability to appear completely unremarkable while coordinating some of the most daring resistance operations in Nazi-occupied Europe. Picture this quiet heroism. Lise establishing safe houses across Normandy while posing as a widowed refugee from Marseille, her gentle demeanor concealing razor-sharp intelligence gathering skills. The soft creak of bicycle wheels on cobblestone roads masks her dangerous journeys between resistance cells, her market basket containing coded messages disguised as shopping lists. Imagine her preparations for D-Day. Lise coordinating with local resistance fighters to sabotage German communications on the morning of the invasion, her whispered instructions in farmhouse kitchens helping to ensure that Nazi reinforcements couldn't reach the beaches. The gentle tick of kitchen clocks measures moments that could determine the war's outcome. Listen to this remarkable detail. Lise operated so successfully that German intelligence never suspected her true identity, allowing her to maintain her cover throughout 3 years of increasingly dangerous operations. Her intelligence helped make D-Day possible by ensuring that local resistance networks were ready to strike. Sometimes the most effective revolutionaries look exactly like ordinary neighbors. What quiet strength do you possess that might be more powerful than you realize? Dear listeners, settle back into your softest pillows as we journey to the misty Scottish Highlands, where ancient castles overlook peaceful lochs and the gentle sound of bagpipes carries across heather-covered moors. You are about to discover how a mild-mannered British civil servant became one of World War II's most innovative saboteurs. Harold Metcalfe, the SOE operative whose creative approach to destruction earned him the nickname the Professor of Mayhem. Born in 1905, he combined an engineer's precision with an artist's imagination to develop sabotage techniques that seemed like magic to both allies and enemies. Picture this inventive warfare. Metcalfe working in a secret laboratory hidden in the English countryside, his gentle hands crafting explosive devices disguised as everyday objects, coal lumps that detonated in ship furnaces, fountain pens that exploded when clicked, even chocolate bars rigged to detonate when unwrapped. The soft scratch of his pencil on technical drawings mingles with the distant hum of countryside as he designs chaos. Imagine his field operations. Metcalfe parachuting into occupied Norway to teach resistance fighters his techniques, his quiet voice explaining complex sabotage procedures in ways that local fishermen and farmers could understand and execute. The whisper of wind through pine forests masks training sessions where simple materials become sophisticated weapons. Listen to this fascinating detail. Metcalfe's explosive coal was so realistic that German engineers couldn't distinguish it from genuine fuel, leading to mysterious boiler explosions that baffled enemy investigators throughout the war. His innovations saved countless Allied lives by making sabotage accessible to ordinary civilians. Sometimes the most destructive ideas come from the most constructive minds. What creative solutions might you develop if conventional approaches weren't available? Hey friends, let that warm summer evening carry you to a baseball stadium in the 1930s. Where the crack of wooden bats mingles with crowd cheers and the scent of peanuts and popcorn drifts through stands filled with American families enjoying their national pastime. You might be wondering how a Major League Baseball player became one of America's most intriguing spies, right? Meet Morris Moe Berg, the catcher whose linguistic genius and photographic memory made him perfect for espionage missions during World War II. Born in New York in 1902, he spoke 15 languages fluently and held degrees from Princeton, Columbia, and the Sorbonne. Picture this athletic deception. Berg touring Japan with an American all-star team in 1934, his baseball uniform concealing a miniature camera as he photographs Tokyo's skyline from hospital rooftops, gathering intelligence that would prove invaluable for future bombing missions. The distant sound of ceremonial drums masks his memorization of military installations and harbor defenses. Imagine his wartime transformation. Berg trading his catcher's mitt for OSS credentials, attending physics lectures across Europe to assess Nazi progress toward atomic weapons. The soft rustle of lecture notes mingles with chalk dust as he evaluates whether German scientists pose a nuclear threat requiring elimination. Listen to this incredible detail. Berg attended a lecture by German physicist Werner Heisenberg in Switzerland, carrying a pistol with orders to assassinate the Nobel laureate if he seemed close to developing atomic weapons for Hitler. His assessment that German nuclear research lagged behind American efforts may have prevented unnecessary assassination of brilliant scientists. Sometimes our most valuable intelligence comes from the most unexpected observers. What unique perspective does your background give you that others might not possess? You are now walking through the pine forests of the French Alps, where morning mist clings to mountain slopes, and the soft crunch of snow beneath your boots mingles with the distant tinkle of cowbells from hidden valleys. Meet Odette Sansom, the French-born British agent whose extraordinary courage under torture made her one of World War II's most inspiring heroines. Born Odette Brayley in France in 1912, she moved to England after marriage, but returned to her homeland as an SOE operative, determined to fight Nazi occupation with nothing but determination and an unbreakable spirit. Picture this mountain resistance. Odette establishing radio communication networks in the treacherous alpine terrain, her fingers working radio dials while German direction-finding trucks prowl the valleys below. The soft static of encrypted transmissions mingles with wind through pine needles as she coordinates supply drops and resistance operations across southeastern France. Imagine her capture and interrogation. Arrested by the Gestapo in 1943, Odette endured months of torture, including having her toenails pulled out, but never revealed a single operational detail or betrayed any fellow agents. The gentle drip of cell water marks time during solitary confinement, where her mind travels to peaceful English gardens and French meadows. Listen to this remarkable detail. Odette convinced her captors that she was married to her circuit leader Peter Churchill, claiming he was Winston Churchill's nephew to protect him from execution. This lie, maintained under extreme torture, likely saved both their lives. She survived Ravensbrück concentration camp and was liberated in 1945. Sometimes love creates strength that no amount of cruelty can break. What relationships in your life give you strength you didn't know you possessed? Dear listeners, let the gentle sounds of 1960s London wash over you. The soft purr of black taxi engines, the distant chimes of Big Ben, and the rustle of newspapers in cozy pub corners where ordinary businessmen discuss ordinary things. You are about to meet one of the Cold War's most successful deep-cover agents, Conan Mollody, who spent years living as Canadian businessman Gordon Lonsdale while running Soviet intelligence operations in the heart of the Western world. Born in Russia in 1922, he assumed a dead Canadian child's identity and created a life so convincing that even close friends never suspected his true allegiance. Picture this perfect deception. Gordon, operating a successful jukebox and vending machine business across London, his cheerful visits to pubs and office buildings providing perfect cover for meetings with British naval secret suppliers. The soft clink of coins in jukeboxes mingles with jazz music as he collects intelligence about Royal Navy nuclear submarine designs. Imagine his sophisticated network. Mollody coordinating with the Portland Spy Ring, a group that included British naval clerk Harry Houghton and his girlfriend Ethel G., who regularly photographed classified Admiralty documents. The gentle scratch of fountain pens on invoices masks the transfer of microfilm containing Britain's most sensitive military secrets. Listen to this remarkable detail. Mollody's network successfully obtained detailed plans for HMS Dreadnought, Britain's first nuclear submarine, intelligence that advanced Soviet naval technology by years. Arrested in 1961, he was exchanged for British spy Greville Wynne in 1964. Sometimes the most dangerous enemies are the ones who make the best neighbors. How well do you really know the people in your daily life? You are now standing on a Damascus rooftop at sunset, where the ancient city spreads before you like pages from a history book, and the gentle call to prayer mingles with the distant sound of fountains in hidden courtyards. Meet Eli Cohen, the Israeli Mossad agent whose deep cover mission in Syria brought him within reach of that nation's highest government positions. Born in Egypt in 1924, he emigrated to Israel and was recruited for an operation requiring extraordinary psychological transformation, becoming Kamel Amin Thabet, a wealthy Syrian businessman returning from Argentina to serve his homeland. Picture this elaborate identity. Cohen establishing himself in Damascus society, his generous hospitality and passionate Arab nationalism making him beloved among Syrian military and political elite. The soft clink of coffee cups and whisper of silk curtains provide atmosphere for dinner parties, where defense ministers casually discuss military strategies with their trusted friend Kamel. Imagine his dangerous success. Cohen's charm and apparent wealth opened doors throughout Syrian government, eventually earning him consideration for the deputy defense minister position. The gentle scratch of his pen on social invitations conceals his true purpose as he maps Syrian fortifications along the Golan Heights and reports on Soviet military assistance. Listen to this crucial detail. Cohen's intelligence about Syrian military positions proved invaluable during the 1967 Six-Day War, helping Israeli forces capture the strategically vital Golan Heights with minimal casualties. Discovered and executed in 1965, he had spent 3 years as one of Syria's most influential citizens while secretly serving Israel. Sometimes the most successful infiltrations require becoming genuinely likable to your enemies. What qualities make you naturally trustworthy that you might take for granted? Hey friends, let that cool morning breeze carry you through the French countryside, where bicycle wheels whisper against cobblestone roads and the scent of fresh bread from village bakeries mingles with wildflowers growing along ancient stone walls. You are about to meet one of SOE's most effective organizers, Pearl Witherington, the British agent whose leadership of 3,000 French resistance fighters made her a legend among those who fought the Nazi occupation. Born in Paris in 1914 to British parents, she returned to France as an adult and found herself perfectly positioned to coordinate one of the largest resistance networks in central France. Picture this remarkable leadership. Pearl bicycling between resistance cells across a territory larger than Yorkshire, her British accent carefully hidden as she coordinates sabotage operations that will disrupt German supply lines. The soft rustle of her skirt conceals weapons and coded messages as she transforms from mild-mannered secretary to military commander. Imagine her network's impact. Pearl's fighters sabotaged 800 German vehicles, derailed dozens of trains, and cut telephone lines so frequently that German communications in her region became completely unreliable. The distant whistle of trains echoes across countryside where her saboteurs wait in forests to strike supply convoys heading toward Normandy. Listen to this extraordinary detail. Pearl's resistance network was so effective that the German army offered rewards totaling millions in today's currency for her capture, yet local French civilians protected her identity completely. After D-Day, her fighters liberated an area the size of a small country without Allied military support. Sometimes leadership emerges naturally from those who simply care enough to take responsibility. What situations bring out leadership qualities in you that surprise even yourself? You are now walking through the hushed corridors of the British Foreign Office, where polished marble floors reflect crystal chandeliers and the soft rustle of diplomatic pouches mingles with whispered conversations about empire and international relations. Meet Donald Maclean, the brilliant British diplomat whose double life as a Soviet agent influenced Western foreign policy for nearly 2 decades. Born in 1913 to a distinguished liberal family, he was educated at Cambridge. where communist ideology captured his imagination and Soviet intelligence captured his loyalty. Picture this intellectual betrayal. McLean attending high-level meetings about NATO formation and Marshall Plan implementation, his fountain pen taking notes about Western strategy, while his photographic memory stores every detail for transmission to Moscow. The soft tick of Foreign Office clocks measures moments as he shapes British policy to Soviet advantage from within the very heart of Western diplomacy. Imagine his positions of influence, serving as British Embassy Secretary in Washington during crucial atomic energy negotiations. McLean provided Stalin with detailed intelligence about American nuclear capabilities and diplomatic strategies. The gentle hum of secure telephones carries conversations about atomic secrets that he faithfully reports to his KGB handlers. Listen to this devastating detail. McLean's intelligence allowed Soviet negotiators to anticipate Western diplomatic positions throughout the early Cold War, possibly extending Soviet influence in Eastern Europe and affecting the nuclear balance of power. Defecting to Moscow in 1951 with fellow spy Guy Burgess, he lived quietly in Soviet exile until his death in 1983. Sometimes the most privileged positions create the greatest opportunities for ideological betrayal. What beliefs might you hold that could conflict with institutional loyalties? Dear listeners, close your eyes and feel the wind rushing past your face as we soar above the early 1900s countryside, where hot air balloons and primitive aircraft float like dreams against endless blue skies. You are about to discover how society's first female aviator became intelligence gathering's most elegant pioneer, Aida de Acosta, the Cuban-American heiress who combined her passion for flight with a talent for collecting secrets from Europe's social elite. Born in 1884 to extraordinary wealth, she shocked society by becoming the first woman to pilot a powered aircraft solo. But her most daring adventures happened on the ground. Picture this aerial espionage. Aida hosting elaborate dinner parties in her Parisian mansion, where European diplomats compete for the attention of this charming aviation celebrity. The soft clink of crystal champagne flutes and rustle of silk evening gowns provide cover as she memorizes conversations about military aviation developments and international alliances. Imagine her unique advantage. Aida's aviation expertise making her invaluable to intelligence services seeking information about European aircraft development and military capabilities. The gentle hum of early aircraft engines mingles with wind through silk scarves as she observes military airfields during her recreational flights across Europe. Listen to this remarkable detail. Aida's social connections and aviation knowledge allowed her to gather intelligence about German aircraft development that proved valuable during World War I, when aviation technology could determine battlefield superiority. Her combination of technical expertise and social access created unprecedented intelligence-gathering opportunities. Sometimes our hobbies open doors that our professions never could. What personal interests might give you access to information or people others couldn't reach? You are now sitting in a quiet university laboratory, where the soft hum of scientific equipment mingles with the scratch of chalk on blackboards covered with equations that could reshape the world's understanding of atomic power. Meet Klaus Fuchs, the German-born physicist whose communist convictions led him to share atomic secrets with the Soviet Union while working on the Manhattan Project. Born in 1911, he fled Nazi Germany for Britain, and eventually became one of the most trusted scientists in the Western world's most classified research program. Picture this scientific betrayal. Fuchs working alongside America's brightest minds at Los Alamos, his gentle demeanor and brilliant contributions earning complete trust while he mentally catalogs every detail of atomic bomb design for transmission to Soviet intelligence. The soft whisper of ventilation systems and distant mountain winds mask meetings where he passes nuclear secrets that will end American atomic monopoly. Imagine his motivation. Fuchs genuinely believing that sharing atomic knowledge would prevent nuclear war by creating balance between superpowers, his scientific mind convinced that secrecy posed greater dangers than proliferation. The gentle tick of laboratory clocks measures moments as he photographs classified documents that reveal plutonium production techniques and weapon assembly procedures. Listen to this world-changing detail. Fuchs's intelligence allowed the Soviet Union to develop atomic weapons years ahead of Western estimates, fundamentally altering Cold War dynamics and nuclear deterrence calculations. Arrested in 1950, he served 9 years in British prison before moving to East Germany. Sometimes the most profound betrayals spring from the most idealistic motivations. What principles might you prioritize above institutional loyalty if forced to choose? You are now walking through the fog-shrouded streets of occupied Paris, where gas lamps flicker against blackout curtains and the soft echo of footsteps on cobblestones mingles with distant accordion music from hidden basement cafes. Meet Mathilde Carré, codenamed the Cat, a French resistance fighter whose story became one of wartime's most complex tales of loyalty, betrayal, and survival. Born in 1908, she initially worked with British intelligence to establish escape networks for Allied airmen, but her capture by German counterintelligence transformed her into a double agent whose true allegiances remained mysterious until war's end. Picture this moral labyrinth. Mathilde moving through Parisian safe houses, her gentle voice coordinating resistance operations, while German handlers believe she's identifying Allied agents for capture. The soft rustle of silk scarves and clink of café cups mask conversations where truth and deception become indistinguishable, each word carefully chosen to serve multiple masters. Imagine her psychological complexity, maintaining relationships with resistance fighters who trust her completely while feeding carefully crafted information to German intelligence officers who believe she's their most valuable asset. The gentle tick of apartment clocks measures moments where a single wrong word could doom dozens of lives. Listen to this fascinating detail. Mathilde's intelligence may have actually helped more Allied personnel escape than it compromised, suggesting her ultimate loyalty remained with the resistance despite her cooperation with German handlers. Her story illustrates how survival in wartime often requires moral compromises that resist simple judgment. Sometimes the most complex loyalties create the most effective protection for those who matter most. What situations might force you to choose between competing loyalties? Dear listeners, let that gentle ocean breeze carry you to a secluded Caribbean island, where palm fronds whisper against azure skies and the soft splash of waves mingles with the distant hum of radio transmissions connecting secret networks across 2 continents. You are about to meet the man called Intrepid, William Stephenson, the Canadian businessman whose wartime intelligence operations helped bring America into World War II. Born in Manitoba in 1896, he became a successful inventor and industrialist whose business empire provided perfect cover for coordinating British intelligence activities throughout the Western Hemisphere. Picture this transatlantic conspiracy. Stephenson establishing British security coordination in New York's Rockefeller Center, his modest office suite concealing sophisticated radio equipment and code-breaking operations that influence American public opinion toward supporting Britain. The soft hum of encrypting machines mingles with Manhattan traffic as his agents plant stories in American newspapers about Nazi threats to the hemisphere. Imagine his network's influence. Stephenson's operatives working with sympathetic American journalists and politicians to counter isolationist sentiment, their carefully crafted intelligence reports helping convince Roosevelt's administration that Nazi Germany poses a direct threat to American security. The gentle scratch of typewriter keys produces articles that subtly shift public opinion toward intervention. Listen to this remarkable detail. Stevenson's intelligence network provided crucial early warning about Pearl Harbor attack preparations, though the information arrived too late to prevent the surprise assault that finally brought America into the war. His operations helped ensure Britain survived long enough for American assistance to arrive. Sometimes the most important battles are fought with information rather than weapons. What information might you possess that could influence important decisions? Hey friends, let that warm desert wind carry you across the golden dunes of Arabia, where camel caravans move like mirages against endless horizons, and the soft whisper of sand mingles with the distant call of Bedouin songs echoing across ancient trade routes. You might be wondering how a Victorian lady explorer became one of the most influential intelligence officers in Middle Eastern history, right? Meet Gertrude Bell, the British archaeologist and linguist whose intimate knowledge of Arab culture made her indispensable to imperial intelligence operations during World War I and its aftermath. Picture this extraordinary expertise. Belle traveling across desert kingdoms on camelback, her flowing robes and fluent Arabic allowing her unprecedented access to tribal leaders and urban politicians alike. The soft jingle of camel bells and whisper of tent fabric provide atmosphere as she maps political allegiances and military capabilities across the Ottoman Empire's crumbling territories. Imagine her unique position. Bell serving as the only woman officer in British intelligence during the Arab Revolt, her deep cultural understanding helping coordinate Lawrence of Arabia's operations while gathering intelligence about tribal politics that male officers could never access. The gentle scratch of her pen on field reports mingles with desert winds as she documents the complex relationships that will reshape the modern Middle East. Listen to this remarkable detail. Bell's intelligence work helped establish modern Iraq's borders and political structure. Her recommendations about tribal alliances and territorial divisions influencing British policy that created lasting geopolitical consequences. She became Iraq's first director of antiquities after helping establish the new nation. Sometimes the most lasting intelligence work involves understanding cultures rather than stealing secrets. What cultural knowledge do you possess that might be more valuable than you realize? You are now sitting in a Soviet missile command bunker deep beneath the Russian countryside, where computer screens glow softly in the darkness, and the gentle hum of electronic equipment mingles with the weight of decisions that could end civilization. Meet Stanislav Petrov, the Soviet officer whose individual judgment prevented nuclear war during one of the Cold War's most dangerous moments. Born in 1939, he worked as a lieutenant colonel in the Soviet Air Defense Forces, monitoring early warning systems designed to detect American missile launches, systems that on September 26, 1983, displayed what appeared to be incoming nuclear attack. Picture this world-saving decision. Petrov watching radar screens show multiple American intercontinental ballistic missiles approaching Soviet territory. His training demanding immediate notification of superiors who would launch retaliatory strikes within minutes. The soft beep of warning systems and whisper of air conditioning mask the sound of his heart pounding as he weighs protocol against intuition. Imagine his crucial reasoning. Petrov's experience with satellite systems convincing him that the readings resulted from technical malfunction rather than actual attack. His decision to report the alerts as false alarm, preventing automatic nuclear response that would have triggered World War III. The gentle tick of control room clocks measures moments that determine whether human civilization continues. Listen to this extraordinary detail. Petrov's choice to trust his judgment over computer systems may have saved hundreds of millions of lives, yet he received no recognition from Soviet authorities who preferred to cover up the incident. His story remained secret until after the Cold War ended. Sometimes the most important acts of intelligence involve knowing when not to act on information. What moment required you to trust intuition over protocol? Dear listeners, close your eyes and feel the warm Mediterranean breeze as we sail toward the elegant ports of neutral Spain, where diplomatic intrigue mingles with the gentle splash of yacht hulls against harbor walls. You are revisiting Amy Thorpe, but discovering how her intelligence career began long before her wartime fame as Cynthia. Born into American high society in 1910, she first learned the art of seduction for espionage during the Spanish Civil War, when her marriage to a British diplomat provided perfect cover for gathering intelligence about fascist and communist operations. Picture this early apprenticeship. Young Amy attending embassy receptions in Madrid while civil war rages beyond the city. Her beauty and charm opening doors to Spanish generals and Italian advisors who casually discuss military strategies over champagne. The soft clink of crystal glasses and rustle of silk evening gowns mask her memorization of conversations about foreign intervention and military capabilities. Imagine her development. Amy learning to balance genuine attraction with calculated manipulation. Her natural empathy making her targets feel truly understood while she systematically extracts their secrets. The gentle scratch of fountain pens on invitation cards conceals her transformation from socialite to professional intelligence operative. Listen to this formative detail. Amy's early success in Spain convinced British intelligence that American women could access social circles unavailable to traditional male operatives, leading to her recruitment for more sophisticated operations during World War II. Her Spanish experience taught her that the most effective intelligence work feels like friendship rather than interrogation. Sometimes our greatest professional skills develop through our most personal relationships. What social talents might you possess that could serve unexpected purposes? You are now standing in the cobblestone courtyards of medieval Krakow, where church bells echo across red-tiled rooftops and the scent of fresh bread from ancient bakeries mingles with the distant sound of horse-drawn carriages on stone streets. Meet Ignacy Wyczak, the Polish postmaster, whose secret radio transmissions provided crucial intelligence to Allied forces during the darkest years of Nazi occupation. Born in 1901, he worked for the Polish Postal Service, but transformed his technical knowledge into resistance when German forces invaded, establishing one of the most effective intelligence networks in occupied Europe. Picture this postal rebellion. Wyczak operating clandestine radio equipment hidden in post office basements, his Morse code transmissions carrying intelligence about German troop movements and industrial production across occupied Poland. The soft tap-tap-tap of telegraph keys mingles with footsteps overhead as postal workers unknowingly provide cover for communications that reach London and Moscow. Imagine his network's scope. Wyczak coordinating with postal workers across occupied territory, their daily mail routes providing perfect cover for intelligence gathering and message distribution. The gentle rustle of mail sacks and stamp of postal marks mask the transfer of coded intelligence that helps Allied commanders understand German strategic capabilities. Listen to this remarkable detail. Wyczak's postal intelligence network operated for 3 years before German counterintelligence discovered his activities, during which time his reports provided crucial information about German industrial capacity and military logistics. Captured in 1943, he died under interrogation without revealing his network's structure or personnel. Sometimes the most ordinary professions provide the most extraordinary opportunities for resistance. What routine access do you have that others might not appreciate? Hey friends, let that evening mist carry you through the quiet villages of Vichy, France, where ancient stone churches stand silhouetted against purple skies, and the distant sound of sheep bells mingles with wind through olive groves. You are about to discover a Canadian journalist whose quest to find her lover became one of the most daring intelligence operations in occupied France. Charlotte Gray, whose personal mission intertwined with professional espionage in ways that challenged every assumption about duty and devotion. Born in 1920, she worked as a radio operator but volunteered for SOE missions when her RAF pilot boyfriend was shot down over France. Picture this passionate search. Charlotte parachuting into occupied territory ostensibly to repair damaged radio networks, but secretly hoping to locate and rescue her missing lover. The soft whisper of silk parachutes against midnight air announces her arrival in moonlit fields where personal and professional missions become inseparable. Imagine her dual purpose. Charlotte establishing communication links with resistance fighters while gathering intelligence about German prison camps and interrogation centers where Allied airmen might be held. The gentle scratch of radio antenna wires against farmhouse roofs mask transmissions that serve both British intelligence and her private desperate hope. Listen to this bittersweet detail. Charlotte's lover had already been executed when she arrived in France, but her search operations provided valuable intelligence about German security procedures and helped establish escape routes that saved other Allied personnel. Her story became Sebastian Faulks's novel Charlotte Gray, immortalizing how love and duty intertwine in wartime. Sometimes our most personal quests serve larger purposes we never intended. What personal motivations might lead you toward unexpected service to others? You are now walking through the elegant drawing rooms of Cambridge University, where leather-bound books line mahogany shelves, and the soft crackle of fireplace logs mingles with spirited debates about politics, poetry, and the future of civilization. Meet Guy Burgess, the brilliant British diplomat whose bohemian lifestyle and infectious charm concealed decades of service to Soviet intelligence. Born in 1911, he was recruited at Cambridge along with other future members of the Cambridge 5 spy ring. But his flamboyant personality and obvious drinking made him simultaneously the most visible and most overlooked member of Britain's most successful espionage network. Picture this hidden in plain sight. Burgess stumbling through London's diplomatic circles, his outrageous behavior and obvious homosexuality making him seem harmless to security services who couldn't imagine that someone so conspicuous could be a successful spy. The clink of gin glasses and rustle of gossip magazines mask his systematic collection of Foreign Office secrets. Imagine his technique. Burgess using his reputation as a brilliant but unreliable drunk to access classified information that colleagues freely discuss around him, believing his condition makes him incapable of coherent intelligence work. The soft scratch of diplomatic pens on treaties mingles with his seemingly casual questions about policy details. Listen to this remarkable detail. Burgess's obvious vices made him perfect cover for other Cambridge spies, as security services focused on his conspicuous behavior while overlooking his colleagues' more subtle activities. Defecting to Moscow with Donald Maclean in 1951, he lived unhappily in Soviet exile until his death in 1963. Sometimes the most effective camouflage is being exactly what people expect you to be. What obvious characteristics might actually protect your more hidden qualities? Dear listeners, let the gentle sounds of the American frontier wash over you, the soft whinny of horses, the distant harmonica music from cavalry camps, and the rustle of prairie grass beneath endless starlit skies. You are about to meet one of the Civil War's most theatrical spies, Pauline Cushman, the actress turned Union intelligence agent whose dramatic talents made her perfect for undercover work behind Confederate lines. Born Harriet Wood in 1833, she adopted the stage name Pauline Cushman and discovered that theatrical training provided excellent preparation for the ultimate performance, convincing Confederate officers that she supported their cause. Picture this dramatic deception. Pauline performing in Louisville theaters, where Confederate sympathizers applaud her apparent Southern loyalty. Her stage training helping her maintain character even during casual conversations with rebel officials. The soft rustle of stage curtains and distant orchestra music provide atmosphere for recruitment conversations that transform entertainment into espionage. Imagine her dangerous missions. Pauline traveling through Confederate territory as a supposed Southern sympathizer, her actress training allowing her to improvise believable stories while gathering intelligence about troop movements and supply routes. The gentle clop of horse hooves on dirt roads masks conversations where she extracts military information through seemingly innocent questions about local conditions. Listen to this remarkable detail. Pauline's most valuable intelligence came from her arrest by Confederate forces, who revealed crucial information about their defensive positions while interrogating her, assuming she was merely a misguided civilian rather than a trained operative. Condemned to death but rescued by advancing Union forces, she became a celebrity speaker after the war. Sometimes the most convincing performances are built on genuine emotions directed toward fictional goals. What performance skills might you possess that could serve serious purposes? You are now walking through the ruins of post-war Germany, where rubble-strewn streets echo with the sounds of reconstruction and the scent of brick dust mingles with hope for a rebuilt future. Meet Reinhard Gehlen, the former Nazi intelligence officer whose extensive knowledge of Soviet operations made him invaluable to American intelligence during the early Cold War. Born in 1902, he served as Hitler's chief intelligence officer on the Eastern Front, but surrendered to American forces with complete files on Soviet military capabilities, trading his knowledge for protection and employment. Picture this controversial alliance. Gehlen establishing the Gehlen Organization with CIA funding, his network of former Wehrmacht officers and anti-communist agents providing crucial intelligence about Soviet activities in Eastern Europe. The soft scratch of typewriter keys on intelligence reports mingles with coffee percolating in occupation headquarters as former enemies become allies against a new threat. Imagine the moral complexity. Gehlen's organization employing former SS officers and war criminals whose anti-communist credentials outweighed their Nazi past in American calculations about Cold War priorities. The gentle hum of radio transmissions carries intelligence from behind the Iron Curtain gathered by operatives whose wartime activities would normally demand prosecution. Listen to this troubling detail. Gehlen's organization became the foundation for West German intelligence services, institutionalizing the rehabilitation of former Nazis whose expertise was deemed essential for containing Soviet expansion. His network operated until 1968, when it was formally transferred to German government control. Sometimes the most valuable intelligence comes from the most morally compromised sources. How do you balance practical necessities with ethical principles in difficult situations? Hey friends, if you love this series of incredible hidden heroes, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell. We've got 40 more amazing stories coming your way. You are now sitting in a glamorous Stockholm nightclub during World War II, where crystal chandeliers cast golden light on silk evening gowns, and the soft melody of jazz piano mingles with the gentle clink of champagne glasses. Meet Sonia Wigert, the Norwegian actress whose beauty made her one of the most unlikely double agents of the war. Born in 1913, she became Scandinavia's most celebrated film star. But when Nazi Germany occupied Norway, her fame became a weapon for both sides. The Germans wanted her as a propaganda tool, while the Allies needed her access to high-ranking Nazi officials. Picture this elegant deception. Sonia attending embassy receptions in Stockholm, her sparkling laughter and designer gowns making her irresistible to German diplomats and SS officers who compete for her attention. The rustle of silk and whisper of secrets mingles with orchestra music as she memorizes conversations about military operations and political strategies, her acting skills making every interaction seem like genuine romantic interest. Imagine her dangerous balancing act. Sonia appearing in German propaganda films to maintain her cover while secretly reporting to British intelligence about Nazi activities in neutral Sweden. The soft scratch of film reels and photographers' flashbulbs mask meetings where she passes intelligence that helps Allied operations across occupied Europe. Listen to this remarkable detail. Sonia's intelligence helped the Allies understand German plans for Norway's occupation, and her reports on Nazi officials' personalities aided in post-war prosecution efforts. She proved that sometimes the most effective spies are those who seem too glamorous to be dangerous. Sometimes the brightest spotlights create the deepest shadows for secret work. What talents might you possess that could serve unexpected purposes? Dear listeners, let that cool London fog carry you through the gray streets of Cold War England, where rain-slicked pavements reflect neon signs, and the distant sound of underground trains mingles with whispered conversations in anonymous pubs. You might be wondering how a real British intelligence officer became the world's most celebrated spy novelist, right? Meet David Cornwell, who wrote under the name John le Carré, after spending years working for MI5 and MI6 during the height of the Cold War. Born in 1931, he joined British intelligence in the 1950s and discovered that reality often surpassed fiction in complexity and moral ambiguity. Picture this literary transformation. Cornwell working as a case officer in Germany while secretly writing his first novel, Call for the Dead. His real intelligence experience providing authentic details that other thriller writers could only imagine. The soft tap of typewriter keys mingles with the distant hum of secure telephones as he transforms classified experiences into best-selling fiction. Imagine his unique perspective. Cornwell's access to actual intelligence operations, giving his novels psychological depth and moral complexity that revolutionized spy fiction, moving beyond simple good versus evil narratives to explore the human cost of espionage work. The gentle scratch of fountain pens on manuscript pages mingles with rain against embassy windows as he crafts stories that reveal intelligence work's emotional toll. Listen to this fascinating detail. Cornwell's novel, The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, was so realistic that intelligence services worldwide studied it for insights into British operational methods. His writing career began when his intelligence work ended, but his books continued serving his country by shaping public understanding of espionage realities. Sometimes the most powerful intelligence work happens after the secrets are transformed into stories. What experiences might you have that could become valuable narratives for others? Hey friends, let that warm afternoon sunlight carry you to 1930s Berlin, where embassy gardens bloom with roses and the gentle sound of string quartets mingles with diplomatic conversations that will shape the coming storm. You are about to meet Martha Dodd, the American ambassador's daughter, whose romantic entanglements with Nazi officials made her both a valuable intelligence asset and a controversial figure in American diplomatic history. Born in 1908, she arrived in Berlin in 1933 as her father became U.S. ambassador to Germany, initially fascinated by Nazi pageantry, but gradually horrified by the regime's true nature. Picture this diplomatic transformation. Martha attending glittering embassy receptions where her beauty and social position attract Nazi officials eager to influence American policy, her conversations with SS leaders and propaganda ministers providing insights into German intentions. The soft clink of wine glasses and rustle of diplomatic pouches mask her evolution from naive socialite to concerned intelligence source. Imagine her dangerous relationships. Martha conducting affairs with both Nazi officials and Soviet intelligence officers. Her intimate access to high-level conversations making her invaluable to multiple intelligence services. The gentle scratch of love letters on embassy stationery conceals political intelligence that reaches both Moscow and Washington through very different channels. Listen to this complex detail. Martha's intelligence about Nazi intentions helped inform American understanding of German rearmament and expansion plans, though her later communist sympathies made her a suspected Soviet agent. After the war, she moved to communist countries and remained under FBI surveillance for decades. Sometimes the most valuable intelligence comes from the most complicated loyalties. What relationships have taught you things you never expected to learn? You are now walking through the lavender fields of Provence at sunset, where purple flowers stretch toward golden horizons and the soft buzz of bees mingles with distant church bells across peaceful French countryside. Meet Cicely Lefort, the British nurse whose medical training provided perfect cover for intelligence operations in occupied France. Born in London in 1900, she worked as a district nurse before volunteering for SOE missions that would take her deep into enemy territory, where her healing skills helped resistance fighters while her intelligence work helped the Allied cause. Picture this medical espionage. Cicely traveling between French villages as a visiting nurse, her medical bag containing not only bandages and medicines, but also radio equipment and coded messages for resistance networks. The soft scratch of prescription pads and gentle clink of medicine bottles mask her true mission as she coordinates intelligence gathering while genuinely treating sick villagers. Imagine her dual purpose. Cicely establishing trust with local populations through her medical work. Her nursing skills opening doors and creating safe houses where resistance fighters receive both medical treatment and intelligence briefings. The gentle murmur of patient consultations and rustle of medical charts provide cover for meetings that coordinate sabotage operations. Listen to this tragic detail. Cicely was captured by German forces in 1943 and executed at Ravensbrück concentration camp, but not before establishing medical networks that continued serving both healing and intelligence purposes throughout the occupation. Her story shows how humanitarian work and intelligence operations can support each other in remarkable ways. Sometimes the most effective cover stories are built on genuine desires to help others. What skills do you have that could serve both personal and larger purposes? Dear listeners, close your eyes and imagine yourself in the quiet laboratories of Los Alamos, where the soft hum of scientific equipment mingles with mountain winds and the scratch of equations on blackboards that hold the secrets of atomic power. You are about to discover the youngest spy in atomic history, Theodore Hall, the brilliant physicist who was only 19 years old when he decided to share American nuclear secrets with the Soviet Union. Born in 1925, he was recruited for the Manhattan Project while still a Harvard undergraduate, becoming one of the youngest scientists working on history's most classified research program. Picture this youthful idealism. Hall working alongside Nobel laureates while wrestling with the moral implications of American atomic monopoly, his notebooks filled with uranium enrichment calculations and ethical questions about nuclear weapons. The gentle whisper of ventilation systems and distant mountain echoes provide atmosphere as he decides that sharing atomic knowledge might prevent nuclear war. Imagine his clandestine activities. Hall passing detailed information about plutonium production and bomb design to Soviet contacts, his scientific training allowing him to identify the most valuable intelligence, while his youth makes him virtually invisible to security services. The soft scratch of copied formulas and gentle rustle of scientific papers mask intelligence transfers that will accelerate Soviet nuclear development. Listen to this remarkable detail. Hall's intelligence was so valuable that it may have advanced Soviet atomic capabilities by several years, fundamentally altering Cold War nuclear balance. Unlike Klaus Fuchs, Hall was never prosecuted and lived quietly as a professor until his death in 1999. Sometimes the youngest voices raise the most profound moral questions. What idealistic beliefs from your youth still influence your important decisions? You are now backstage at the Folies Bergère, where silk costumes hang like exotic flowers, and the distant sound of orchestra tuning mingles with the scent of stage makeup and champagne from the audience beyond the curtain. Let's revisit Josephine Baker, but this time discovering how her post-war life continued serving intelligence purposes in unexpected ways. After her wartime heroics, she became an unofficial cultural ambassador whose travels across the world provided perfect cover for gathering intelligence about civil rights movements, political developments, and social changes that interested both French and American intelligence services. Picture this cultural espionage. Josephine performing in newly independent African nations, her concerts drawing crowds of political leaders who discuss their country's futures with this charming American expatriate. The soft rustle of audience programs and distant drum rhythms mask conversations about political alliances and economic partnerships that reach intelligence services through very unofficial channels. Imagine her unique access, Josephine's status as a civil rights icon, opening doors to African American leaders and international politicians who trust her completely, never suspecting that her observations about social movements and political trends reach intelligence analysts who value cultural understanding as much as military secrets. Listen to this fascinating detail. Josephine's reports about the civil rights movement's international connections helped intelligence services understand how domestic American issues affected global perceptions of American democracy. Her adopted family of 12 children from different ethnicities became a living symbol of racial harmony that carried its own diplomatic message. Sometimes the most powerful intelligence work involves understanding hearts and minds rather than military capabilities. What cultural knowledge do you possess that might provide unique insights into larger trends? Hey friends, let that gentle countryside breeze carry you through the quiet villages of Oxfordshire, where thatched cottages line meandering lanes, and the soft sound of bicycle bells mingles with birdong from ancient hedgerows. You are about to meet one of the Soviet Union's most successful spies, Ursula Kuczynski, who operated under the codename Sonia and spent decades gathering intelligence while appearing to be nothing more than a devoted housewife and mother. Born in Berlin in 1907, she was recruited by Soviet intelligence in the 1930s and created such perfect domestic cover that British security services never suspected her true activities. Picture this suburban espionage. Ursula living in a comfortable English cottage, her daily routine of school runs and grocery shopping providing perfect cover for intelligence meetings and radio transmissions. The soft hum of kitchen appliances and gentle chatter of neighborhood life mask sophisticated spy operations that connect British atomic secrets to Moscow. Imagine her remarkable network. Ursula coordinating with atomic scientist Klaus Fuchs while maintaining radio contact with multiple Soviet intelligence officers, her technical skills allowing her to operate complex communication equipment while raising 3 children. The gentle scratch of household lists and rustle of children's homework conceal coded messages about nuclear research and military developments. Listen to this incredible detail. Ursula operated successfully in Britain for 8 years, transmitting crucial intelligence about atomic research, while never arousing suspicion from neighbors who saw only a friendly foreign mother adapting to English village life. She escaped to East Germany just before British authorities discovered her identity. Sometimes the most dangerous operatives are the ones who look exactly like everyone else's neighbor. What ordinary activities in your life might provide perfect cover for extraordinary purposes? You are now walking through the quiet residential neighborhoods of Philadelphia, where row houses line tree-shaded streets, and the soft sound of radios through open windows mingles with children playing hopscotch on summer sidewalks. Meet Harry Gold, the American chemist whose loneliness made him perfect for Soviet recruitment and whose courier work connected several atomic spies into a network that changed nuclear history. Born in 1910 to Russian immigrant parents, he worked as an industrial chemist, but found his greatest sense of purpose in secret work that made him feel important and valued. Picture this chemical espionage. Gold traveling across the country on seemingly innocent business trips, his chemistry knowledge allowing him to understand and evaluate the technical intelligence he carries between Soviet handlers and American sources. The soft scratch of laboratory notebooks and gentle hum of chemical equipment mask meetings where atomic secrets change hands in plain manila envelopes. Imagine his psychological motivation. Gold's recruitment playing on his desire for excitement and recognition. His handlers providing the appreciation and adventure that his ordinary life lacks. The gentle tick of laboratory clocks measures moments between his legitimate work and clandestine meetings that serve a cause he believes will advance scientific progress. Listen to this crucial detail. Gold served as courier between Soviet intelligence and Klaus Fuchs, David Greenglass, and other atomic spies, his chemical background making him valuable for understanding and transmitting complex technical information about nuclear research. Arrested in 1950, he cooperated with authorities and served 15 years in federal prison. Sometimes the most ordinary people become extraordinary spies through simple human needs for purpose and recognition. What unfulfilled desires might make you vulnerable to recruitment for causes you hadn't considered? Dear listeners, let that ocean breeze carry you to the busy ports of New York Harbor, where merchant ships from around the world dock beneath the Statue of Liberty, and the gentle sound of foghorns mingles with conversations in dozens of languages. You are about to meet Morris Cohen, the American communist whose dedication to Soviet ideology made him one of the longest-serving illegal agents in intelligence history. Born in New York in 1910, he was recruited by Soviet intelligence in the 1930s and spent decades operating under deep cover, eventually becoming one half of the famous Kroger spy team with his wife Lona. Picture this ideological espionage. Morris working various legitimate jobs: electrical worker, used car salesman, small businessman, while secretly coordinating intelligence operations that span continents and decades. The soft scratch of business ledgers and gentle hum of everyday commerce mask sophisticated spy activities that connect Soviet intelligence to American atomic secrets. Imagine his long-term commitment. Morris spending years building unshakable cover identities, his patience and dedication allowing him to operate successfully through multiple intelligence operations while maintaining the appearance of ordinary American citizenship. The gentle rustle of immigration papers and whisper of passport pages mark his transformation into Peter Kroger, antiquarian bookseller. Listen to this remarkable detail. Morris and his wife operated successfully in both America and Britain for over 30 years. Their deep cover identities so convincing that even close neighbors never suspected their true activities. Arrested in Britain in 1961, they were exchanged for British agents and lived quietly in Moscow until their deaths. Sometimes the most successful spies are motivated by genuine belief rather than money or coercion. What beliefs do you hold strongly enough to dedicate your entire life to serving them? You are now sitting in a comfortable Oxford study, where ancient leather-bound books line mahogany shelves, and the soft scratch of fountain pen on paper mingles with the distant sound of church bells across the university city. Meet Jürgen Kuczynski, the German economist whose academic career provided perfect cover for coordinating one of the most sophisticated intelligence networks in British academic history. Born in 1904, he fled Nazi Germany and established himself as a respected economic historian at Oxford, while secretly serving Soviet intelligence by recruiting fellow academics and coordinating with his sister Ursula's spy network. Picture this scholarly espionage, Jürgen hosting dinner parties in his Oxford home where conversations about economic theory and statistical analysis mask recruitment efforts targeting British intellectuals sympathetic to communist ideology. The soft clink of wine glasses and rustle of academic journals provide atmosphere for meetings where economic data becomes intelligence gold. Imagine his recruitment techniques. Jürgen identifying academics whose research interests and political sympathies make them potential intelligence assets. His genuine scholarly reputation opening doors throughout British academic and government circles. The gentle scratch of research notes and whisper of library pages conceal conversations about accessing classified economic and military information. Listen to this significant detail. Jürgen's academic network provided Soviet intelligence with valuable insights into British economic planning and military production capabilities, intelligence that helped Stalin understand Western industrial capacity during and after World War II. After the war, he returned to East Germany and became a prominent communist intellectual. Sometimes the most valuable intelligence networks are built on shared intellectual interests rather than coercion. What academic or professional communities might you belong to that others would find valuable to understand? You are now standing in the windswept grasslands of Manchuria at dawn, where wild horses gallop freely across endless steppes and the distant sound of temple bells mingles with the whisper of ancient spirits across the land of her ancestors. Let's revisit Yoshiko Kawashima, but this time discovering how her complex identity crisis drove her deeper into espionage than simple loyalty to Japan. Born a Manchu princess but raised Japanese, she embodied the collision between two worlds, neither fully Chinese nor Japanese. She created her own reality through increasingly elaborate spy operations that served multiple masters while serving none completely. Picture this identity warfare. Yoshiko commanding cavalry units while wearing men's military uniforms, her gender fluidity matching her political flexibility as she navigates between Chinese warlords, Japanese commanders, and Manchurian independence movements. The thunder of horse hooves across frozen rivers mingles with her laughter as she refuses every attempt to define her loyalty or identity. Imagine her final performance. Yoshiko establishing herself as a powerful political figure in Manchukuo, her palace becoming a center of intrigue where she hosts diplomats and generals while secretly negotiating with resistance movements. The soft clink of mahjong tiles and rustle of silk robes mask conversations about the future of a nation she helped create but never fully controlled. Listen to this tragic detail. Yoshiko's execution in 1948 ended a life spent searching for an identity that might have existed only in her imagination, a Manchu princess in a world where Manchu royalty had no place. She remains a figure who transcended every boundary while belonging nowhere completely. Sometimes the most complex loyalties create the most fascinating lives, even when they lead to tragedy. What aspects of your identity feel like they belong to different worlds? Dear listeners, let that gentle piano melody carry you to the elegant salons of early 20th century Europe, where crystal chandeliers reflect off polished Steinway grands and the soft rustle of evening gowns mingles with applause from audiences enchanted by musical genius. You might be wondering how one of the world's greatest piano virtuosos became a crucial intelligence operative and political leader, right? Meet Ignacy Paderewski, the Polish pianist, whose concerts provided perfect cover for coordinating independence movements and gathering intelligence across war-torn Europe. Born in 1860, he used his international fame to serve causes far beyond music. Picture this musical espionage. Paderewski performing in the great concert halls of Paris, Vienna, and London while secretly meeting with Polish independence leaders and Allied intelligence officers in green rooms and private salons. The soft pedal work and delicate fingering of Chopin nocturnes mask conversations about weapons shipments and resistance coordination that will reshape Eastern Europe. Imagine his unique access, Paderewski's celebrity status, opening doors to presidents and prime ministers who invite him to private dinners where political secrets flow as freely as champagne. The gentle scratch of autograph signing and whisper of music sheets conceal intelligence gathering that helps coordinate Polish military units fighting alongside Allied forces. Listen to this remarkable detail. Paderewski became Poland's first prime minister after World War I, using diplomatic skills learned through years of intelligence work to represent his newly independent nation at the Paris Peace Conference. His concert career and political leadership proved that artistic genius and intelligence work could serve each other perfectly. Sometimes our greatest talents open doors to serve purposes we never initially imagined. What skills do you possess that might have applications beyond their obvious uses? Hey friends, let that crisp Nordic breeze carry you through the snow-covered forests of Finland, where pine trees stand like silent sentinels, and the distant sound of cross-country skis mingles with the aurora borealis dancing across star-filled Arctic skies. You are about to meet Aino Kuusinen, the Finnish communist whose ideological commitment led her through some of the most dangerous intelligence operations of the Stalin era. Born in 1886, she married Otto Kuusinen, a prominent Finnish communist leader. But her own intelligence work often overshadowed his political activities, as she coordinated covert operations across Scandinavia and Eastern Europe. Picture this ideological espionage. Aino traveling between Helsinki, Stockholm, and Moscow on seemingly innocent family visits while secretly coordinating communist intelligence networks that span the Nordic countries. The soft crunch of snow beneath her boots and gentle whisper of winter wind mask meetings where she coordinates safe houses and communication networks for underground political movements. Imagine her dangerous dedication. Aino operating under deep cover in countries where communist activities face imprisonment or death, her maternal appearance and domestic responsibilities providing perfect camouflage for sophisticated intelligence coordination. The gentle scratch of knitting needles and soft hum of household activities conceal radio transmissions and coded messages that connect resistance movements across borders. Listen to this sobering detail. Aino's loyalty to Stalin's Soviet Union led her to support policies that devastated her native Finland, including intelligence work that aided Soviet invasion plans during the Winter War of 1939 to 1940. Her story illustrates how ideological commitment can transcend national loyalty in complex and troubling ways. Sometimes our deepest beliefs conflict with our birthplace loyalties in ways that demand difficult choices. What principles would you prioritize if they conflicted with your national interests? You are now trekking through the remote mountains of Central Asia, where ancient trade routes wind between snow-capped peaks and the soft jingle of yak bells mingles with wind through prayer flags scattered across high mountain passes. Meet Peter Fleming, the British travel writer whose journalistic expeditions provided perfect cover for intelligence gathering in some of the world's most inaccessible regions. Born in 1907, he was Ian Fleming's older brother. But while Ian created fictional spies, Peter lived the reality of intelligence work in places where borders existed only on maps and survival depended on local knowledge and diplomatic skill. Picture this geographical espionage. Fleming leading expeditions through Chinese Turkestan and Tibet, ostensibly gathering material for travel articles while actually mapping strategic routes and assessing Soviet influence in regions that could become crucial during future conflicts. The soft whisper of tent fabric and gentle crackle of campfires mask conversations with local guides who possess invaluable knowledge about military movements and political changes. Imagine his unique methodology. Fleming's genuine passion for exploration, making his cover identity completely authentic. His published travel books becoming bestsellers that hide his real intelligence gathering in plain sight. The scratch of pencils on expedition notes and rustle of geographical surveys conceal strategic assessments about transportation routes and communication possibilities. Listen to this fascinating detail. Fleming's intelligence reports about Chinese and Soviet activities in Central Asia helped British military planners understand strategic possibilities in regions that would become crucial during World War II and the Cold War. His brother Ian reportedly drew inspiration from Peter's real adventures when creating James Bond. Sometimes the most effective intelligence work happens in places too remote for anyone to suspect surveillance. What remote or unusual places have you visited that might hold unexpected strategic value? Dear listeners, close your eyes and feel the gentle sway of a luxury ocean liner crossing the Atlantic, where the soft splash of waves against the hull mingles with orchestra music from the first-class dining room and distant conversations in multiple languages. You are about to discover Anna Volkova, the Russian countess whose exile from the Soviet Union transformed her into one of the most effective white Russian intelligence operatives during the interwar period. Born into aristocracy in 1895, she fled the revolution and used her international connections to coordinate intelligence networks, supporting anti-communist movements across Europe and America. Picture this aristocratic espionage. Anna attending charity galas and embassy receptions across European capitals, her jeweled evening gowns and impeccable manners providing access to political leaders and military officials who trust displaced Russian nobility completely. The soft clink of champagne glasses and rustle of diplomatic invitations mask conversations about Soviet military capabilities and political developments behind the Iron Curtain. Imagine her network coordination. Anna establishing safe houses and communication networks for Soviet defectors and white Russian agents. Her social connections providing funding and logistical support for intelligence operations that span decades. The gentle scratch of fountain pens on correspondence and whisper of silk stationery conceal coded communications that coordinate resistance activities across multiple countries. Listen to this remarkable detail. Anna's intelligence networks provided crucial early warning about Soviet expansion plans and helped establish escape routes that saved hundreds of anti-communist activists throughout the 1920s and 1930s. World War II forced her to choose between supporting the Allies or maintaining her anti-communist stance, a choice that split white Russian émigré communities. Sometimes exile creates the most dedicated intelligence operatives, driven by dreams of return and revenge. What losses in your life have created the strongest motivations for future action? You are now sitting in a quiet Swiss cafe overlooking Lake Geneva, where the soft splash of paddle steamers mingles with the gentle clink of coffee cups and conversations in French, German, and Italian create a symphony of European neutrality. Meet Alexander Foote, the British communist whose dedication to Soviet ideology led him through one of the most complex intelligence careers of the World War II era. Born in Yorkshire in 1905, he joined the international brigades during the Spanish Civil War and was recruited by Soviet intelligence to operate the Lucy spy ring in neutral Switzerland, one of the most successful intelligence networks in wartime Europe. Picture this neutral territory. Espionage. Foote operating sophisticated radio equipment from Swiss safe houses, his British passport and communist credentials providing perfect cover for coordinating intelligence that flows from German high command to Soviet military planners. The soft static of radio transmissions and gentle hum of electronic equipment mask communications that may determine the war's outcome on the Eastern Front. Imagine his dangerous balancing act. Foote maintaining Swiss residency while secretly coordinating with Soviet intelligence officers and German communist exile networks, his technical expertise making him invaluable for complex radio operations that require perfect timing and absolute security. The gentle tick of Swiss clocks measures moments as he transmits intelligence about German military plans directly to Stalin's headquarters. Listen to this crucial detail. Foote's Lucy network provided Stalin with advance warning about Operation Barbarossa and detailed intelligence about German strategic planning throughout the war, possibly saving the Soviet Union from defeat. After the war, he defected back to Britain and wrote memoirs exposing Soviet intelligence methods. Sometimes the most valuable spies are those who change sides based on evolving understanding rather than simple loyalty. What experiences might cause you to completely reevaluate your fundamental beliefs? Hey friends, let that Washington twilight carry you through the marble corridors of the State Department, where diplomats' footsteps echo softly and the gentle rustle of classified cables mingles with whispered conversations about the future of nations. You are about to discover how one of America's most influential diplomats secretly coordinated intelligence operations that shaped global politics during World War II. Sumner Welles, born in 1892, served as Undersecretary of State, but used his diplomatic position to coordinate intelligence gathering and covert operations that often exceeded his official authority. Picture this diplomatic espionage. Welles attending international conferences and embassy receptions where his official status provides access to world leaders, while his unofficial intelligence coordination helps shape American understanding of global political developments. The soft scratch of diplomatic pens on treaties and gentle whisper of interpreter voices mask intelligence operations that influence major policy decisions. Imagine his intelligence coordination. Welles establishing back-channel communications with resistance movements and exile governments, his diplomatic immunity allowing him to coordinate intelligence operations that traditional spy services couldn't undertake. The gentle hum of secure telephones and rustle of diplomatic pouches conceal conversations about political warfare and psychological operations. Listen to this significant detail. Welles's intelligence work helped coordinate American support for resistance movements across occupied Europe, and his analysis of Axis capabilities influenced major strategic decisions, including the timing of D-Day and the structure of post-war international organizations. His homosexuality eventually ended his career when political enemies used personal scandals to force his resignation in 1943. Sometimes the most effective intelligence coordination happens through official channels that provide perfect cover for unofficial operations. What official positions might give you access to information or influence that could serve larger purposes? You are now walking through the quiet streets of Lucerne at midnight, where ancient church towers cast long shadows, and the gentle sound of the lake lapping against stone embankments mingles with distant alpine winds, carrying secrets across neutral borders. Meet Rudolf Rossler, the German publisher whose anti-Nazi intelligence network in Switzerland became one of World War II's most mysterious and effective operations. Born in 1897, he fled Germany in 1933 and established himself as a respectable publisher in Lucerne, while secretly coordinating what became known as the Lucy spy ring, a network that provided Stalin with some of the war's most valuable intelligence. Picture this publishing espionage. Roessler operating his small publishing house as cover for sophisticated intelligence coordination, his editorial meetings and manuscript discussions providing perfect camouflage for meetings with agents who carry German military secrets across Swiss borders. The soft scratch of printing presses and gentle rustle of book pages mask the production of intelligence reports that reach Soviet military planners within hours of German strategic decisions. Imagine his mysterious sources. Roessler receiving incredibly detailed intelligence about German military operations, possibly from high-ranking Wehrmacht officers or Abwehr agents whose identities remained secret even from Soviet handlers. The gentle tick of Swiss clocks measures transmission schedules that deliver German battle plans to Stalin sometimes before German field commanders receive them. Listen to this remarkable detail. Roessler's network provided advance warning about Operation Citadel, the Battle of Kursk, and detailed intelligence about German defensive preparations, contributing directly to Soviet victory in history's largest tank battle. The true sources of his intelligence were never fully revealed, even after decades of investigation. Sometimes the most effective intelligence networks are those whose sources remain forever mysterious. What connections might you have to information that you don't fully appreciate? Dear listeners, let that gentle Thames breeze carry you through the literary salons of Bloomsbury, where conversations about art and literature mingle with the soft rustle of manuscript pages and distant sound of London traffic beyond Georgian windows. You might be wondering how Britain's literary elite secretly coordinated intelligence operations, right? While Virginia Woolf herself wasn't a spy, her social circle included multiple individuals who used literary and artistic connections for intelligence work during both world wars, proving that intellectual networks often provide perfect cover for more serious purposes. Picture this intellectual espionage. London's literary establishment hosting dinner parties and book readings where conversations about modernist poetry and experimental fiction mask discussions about political developments and potential intelligence assets. The soft clink of teacups and gentle scratch of fountain pens on literary criticism conceal recruitment conversations that identify writers and academics who might serve intelligence purposes. Imagine the network's utility. British intelligence recognizing that literary figures possess unique access to international intellectual communities, their correspondence with writers and artists across Europe providing natural cover for intelligence gathering about political movements and cultural developments. The gentle rustle of letters and whisper of turning pages mask communications that assess European political sentiment and intellectual resistance to fascism. Listen to this fascinating detail. Multiple members of the Bloomsbury Group maintained connections with intelligence services, their literary activities providing cover for psychological warfare operations and propaganda development that influenced British cultural and political strategy. The overlap between intellectual life and intelligence work remained largely hidden until decades after the wars ended. Sometimes the most sophisticated intelligence operations are coordinated through the most cultured and seemingly apolitical social networks. What intellectual or cultural communities might you belong to that others would find valuable to understand or influence? You are now sitting in a traditional Chinese garden at sunset, where koi fish swim peacefully in lotus ponds, and the soft rustle of bamboo leaves mingles with distant temple bells across mountains shrouded in evening mist. Meet Chen Boulay, the Chinese intellectual whose loyalty to Chiang Kai-shek led him through some of the most complex intelligence operations of China's Republican period. Born in 1890, he served as one of the nationalist government's most trusted advisors, while secretly coordinating intelligence networks that spanned decades of civil war foreign invasion and political upheaval. Picture this cultural espionage. Chen using his position as a respected writer and political philosopher to coordinate intelligence operations that serve multiple purposes: gathering information about communist activities, Japanese military plans, and Western diplomatic intentions while maintaining nationalist China's precarious position between competing powers. The soft scratch of calligraphy brushes and gentle whisper of silk scrolls mask intelligence coordination that influences China's survival strategies. Imagine his intellectual network. Chen coordinating with Chinese intellectuals and overseas Chinese communities to gather intelligence about political developments across Asia and assess international support for different Chinese factions. The gentle sound of tea ceremonies and rustle of scholarly papers provide cover for meetings that coordinate resistance activities and diplomatic intelligence. Listen to this tragic detail. Chen's dedication to nationalist intelligence work contributed to his growing despair about China's political future, leading to his suicide in 1948 as communist victory became inevitable and his life's work seemed destined for failure. His story illustrates how intellectual commitment to political causes can become both personally fulfilling and ultimately tragic. Sometimes our deepest loyalties lead us through paths that exceed our emotional capacity to sustain them. What causes do you believe in strongly enough to sacrifice your personal happiness? Hey friends, if you love this series of incredible hidden heroes, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell. We've got 20 more amazing stories coming your way. You are now walking through the misty mountains of Bolivia, where ancient Incan paths wind through cloud forests, and the distant sound of panpipes mingles with the soft whisper of eucalyptus leaves in the mountain breeze. Meet Tamara Bunca, codenamed Tanya, the Argentine-born revolutionary whose dedication to Che Guevara's cause led her through some of the most dangerous intelligence operations in South America. Born in 1937 to German communist parents who fled Nazi persecution, she grew up speaking multiple languages and developed an early passion for anti-imperialist causes that would shape her brief but intense life. Picture this revolutionary espionage. Tamara establishing herself in La Paz as a successful translator and cultural researcher, her academic work providing perfect cover for coordinating urban networks supporting rural guerrilla operations. The soft scratch of ethnographic notes and gentle rustle of folklore collections mask intelligence gathering about Bolivian military capabilities and American advisors. Imagine her mountain missions. Tamara trekking through remote jungle paths to deliver supplies and communications to Che's guerrilla band, her linguistic skills and cultural knowledge making her invaluable for coordinating with indigenous communities who possess crucial knowledge about terrain and government movements. Listen to this tragic detail. Tamara died alongside Che Guevara's forces in 1967. Her dream of Latin American revolution ending in the Bolivian highlands she had come to know so intimately through her intelligence work. Her story became legendary among leftist movements worldwide, inspiring countless others to commit their lives to revolutionary causes. Sometimes the most passionate idealists become the most effective intelligence operatives, driven by dreams that transcend personal safety. What causes inspire you strongly enough to risk everything you value? Dear listeners, let that foggy London evening carry you through the gaslit streets of Victorian England, where hansom cabs clatter over cobblestones and the distant sound of Big Ben mingles with whispered conversations in shadowy alleyways. You are about to discover the man who created modern British counterintelligence, William Melville, the Irish policeman whose innovations in surveillance and investigation established the foundation for MI5 and transformed how nations protect themselves from internal threats. Born in Ireland in 1850, he joined the London Metropolitan Police and gradually developed techniques for monitoring anarchist and revolutionary groups that threatened the stability of the British Empire. Picture this pioneering surveillance. Melville coordinating the first systematic intelligence operations against Irish Republican movements and European anarchists. His methods involving careful observation, infiltration, and analysis, rather than the crude force that characterized earlier police work. The soft scratch of surveillance reports and gentle tick of pocket watches mark time as he develops techniques that will become standard practice for intelligence services worldwide. Imagine his innovative methods. Melville establishing the Special Branch as Britain's first dedicated counterintelligence unit. His careful documentation and systematic approach creating institutional knowledge that survives individual careers and political changes. The gentle rustle of filing systems and whisper of carbon paper mask the creation of intelligence bureaucracy that will protect Britain through 2 world wars. Listen to this foundational detail. Melville's techniques for monitoring foreign agents and domestic threats became the template for modern counterintelligence services. His innovations in surveillance and analysis influencing intelligence work far beyond Britain's borders. He retired quietly in 1903, but his organizational legacy shaped intelligence work throughout the 20th century. Sometimes the most important intelligence innovations happen in offices rather than exotic locations. What systematic approaches might you develop that could influence how others tackle similar challenges? Hey friends, let that gentle evening breeze carry you through the neon-lit streets of 1960s Tokyo, where traditional temples stand beside modern skyscrapers and the soft sound of temple bells mingles with the distant hum of bullet trains crossing the Japanese landscape. You are about to meet one of the Cold War's most effective deep-cover agents, Hanako Ishii, the Japanese businesswoman whose export company provided perfect cover for coordinating intelligence operations across Asia during the most tense years of superpower competition. Born in 1925, she built a successful trading business that connected Japanese manufacturers with international markets while secretly serving Soviet intelligence interests. Picture this commercial espionage. Hanako attending international trade shows and business conferences across Asia, her expertise in Japanese manufacturing providing natural access to industrial secrets and military technology that interests Soviet military planners. The soft rustle of business cards and gentle clink of sake cups mask conversations about semiconductor development and precision manufacturing techniques. Imagine her network coordination. Hanako using her business contacts to establish safe houses and communication networks for Soviet operatives across the Pacific Rim, her legitimate commercial activities providing cover for intelligence operations that span decades. The gentle hum of telex machines and whisper of shipping manifests conceal coded communications about American military capabilities and Asian political developments. Listen to this remarkable detail. Hanako's intelligence networks operated successfully throughout the 1960s and 1970s, providing crucial information about American technological development and Asian political sentiment during the Vietnam War era. Her story remained secret until after the Cold War ended and intelligence archives were partially opened. Sometimes the most effective long-term intelligence operations are built on genuine business success rather than elaborate covers. What professional activities might give you access to information or networks that others would find valuable? You are now sailing through the Baltic Sea at twilight, where merchant ships move like gentle giants across dark waters, and the soft splash of waves against hulls mingles with distant lighthouse beams cutting through maritime fog. Meet Ernst Vollweber, the German communist whose maritime expertise made him one of the most effective sabotage coordinators in European intelligence history. Born in 1898, he worked as a ship's engineer before World War I, but discovered that his technical knowledge and international contacts made him invaluable for coordinating maritime intelligence operations across multiple countries and decades. Picture this nautical espionage. Wollweber coordinating sabotage operations against fascist shipping during the Spanish Civil War, his knowledge of marine engineering allowing him to design devices that could disable ships without endangering crews. The gentle creak of ship rigging and soft whisper of harbor winds mask meetings, where he coordinates international networks of maritime workers sympathetic to communist causes. Imagine his technical innovations. Wollweber developing sophisticated timing devices and remote detonation systems that revolutionize maritime sabotage. His engineering background making him capable of operations that combine political objectives with technical precision. The soft splash of harbor water and distant foghorns provide atmosphere for intelligence coordination that affects shipping across European waters. Listen to this significant detail. Wollweber's sabotage networks successfully disabled dozens of ships carrying supplies to fascist forces, demonstrating how technical expertise and political commitment could create highly effective intelligence operations. After World War II, he became head of East German intelligence services, applying maritime lessons to Cold War espionage. Sometimes specialized technical knowledge becomes the foundation for intelligence innovations that influence entire conflicts. What technical skills do you possess that might have applications beyond their obvious purposes? Dear listeners, close your eyes and feel the salt spray as we sail through the dangerous waters off medieval Brittany, where pirate ships emerge from fog like vengeful spirits, and the distant sound of battle drums mingles with seagulls crying over hidden coves. You are about to meet one of history's most unusual spies, Jeanne de Clisson, the 14th century Breton noblewoman whose personal quest for revenge transformed her into a maritime intelligence operative whose activities influenced the 100 Years' War between England and France. Born around 1300, she began as a typical medieval lady but became the Lioness of Brittany after her husband's execution sparked a campaign of espionage and naval warfare. Picture this medieval maritime espionage. Jeanne commanding a fleet of ships painted black with red sails, her vessels serving as both instruments of revenge and intelligence-gathering platforms that monitor French naval movements along the Atlantic coast. The soft creak of wooden hulls and whisper of canvas sails mask coordination with English intelligence services who value her intimate knowledge of French coastal defenses. Imagine her unique position. Jeanne's noble birth and personal grievances providing perfect motivation for intelligence work that serves English interests while appearing to be purely personal vendetta. The gentle splash of oars and distant lighthouse beams provide atmosphere for meetings where maritime intelligence shapes military strategy. Listen to this remarkable detail. Jeanne's intelligence about French naval capabilities and coastal fortifications helped English forces plan successful raids and understand French maritime weaknesses during crucial years of the 100 Years' War. Her story inspired legends that lasted centuries after her death around 1359. Sometimes personal tragedies create the most dedicated intelligence operatives, driven by emotions that transcend political loyalty. What personal experiences might motivate you to serve causes larger than yourself? You are now standing in the quiet gardens of a Bavarian castle at dawn, where morning mist clings to ancient oak trees, and the distant sound of church bells mingles with birdsong across peaceful countryside that belies the darkness gathering over Europe. Meet Klaus von Stauffenberg, the German aristocrat whose intelligence work within the Wehrmacht created one of the most daring resistance operations against Nazi rule. Born in 1907 to a prominent Catholic family, he initially served loyally as a staff officer, but gradually became convinced that Hitler's regime threatened everything he valued about German civilization and honor. Picture this internal resistance. Stauffenberg, using his position in Wehrmacht high command, to gather intelligence about military operations while secretly coordinating with other officers who share his growing horror at Nazi crimes. The soft scratch of military orders and gentle tick of staff office clocks mask conversations about resistance possibilities and moral obligations that could cost everyone involved their lives. Imagine his dangerous evolution. Stauffenberg's intelligence access allowing him to understand the full scope of Nazi atrocities, while his military position provides opportunities to coordinate resistance activities that require precise timing and absolute secrecy. The gentle rustle of classified documents and whisper of secure telephones conceal planning for operations that could change history's course. Listen to this tragic detail. Stauffenberg's July 20th, 1944 assassination attempt on Hitler failed by minutes, but his intelligence work and resistance coordination inspired resistance movements and provided crucial information to Allied forces about German military capabilities and internal opposition. He was executed the same night, but his example inspired others to continue resistance work. Sometimes the most important intelligence operations are driven by moral conscience rather than political calculation. What moral principles would motivate you to risk everything you've built in life? Hey friends, let that warm evening breeze carry you across the steppes of Central Asia, where camel caravans move like moving cities across endless horizons, and the soft jingle of bells mingles with languages and stories from a dozen different cultures. You are about to meet one of America's first female foreign correspondents, whose journalistic adventures concealed sophisticated intelligence operations across some of the world's most dangerous regions. Marguerite Harrison, born in 1879, combined genuine passion for reporting with secret work for U.S. military intelligence, using her press credentials to access areas and information unavailable to traditional operatives. Picture this journalistic espionage. Harrison traveling through post-revolutionary Russia and Central Asia as a correspondent for the Baltimore Sun, her interviews with Bolshevik leaders and local officials providing valuable intelligence about Soviet capabilities and political developments. The soft scratch of shorthand notes and gentle click of typewriter keys mask intelligence gathering that reaches American military planners through newspaper articles and secret reports. Imagine her remarkable access. Harrison's gender and journalistic credentials allowing her to interview political leaders and observe social conditions that male intelligence operatives couldn't access. Her genuine curiosity making her sources comfortable sharing information they might withhold from obvious spies. Listen to this extraordinary detail. Harrison spent 10 months in Soviet prisons after being discovered, but her intelligence work and journalistic reporting provided crucial insights into early Soviet development and Central Asian political dynamics. After her release, she continued combining journalism with adventure, even joining the first expedition to film in unexplored regions. Sometimes the most valuable intelligence comes from genuine curiosity rather than formal training. What questions drive your curiosity that might lead to unexpected discoveries? You are now walking through the quiet streets of pre-war Berlin, where Jewish families hurry past shops with broken windows and the soft sound of footsteps on cobblestones mingles with distant sirens and the growing fear that hangs over a city sliding toward darkness. Meet Frank Foley, the British passport control officer, whose humanitarian instincts led him to become one of the most effective rescue operatives in Nazi Germany. Born in 1884, he worked officially for the passport office, but secretly for MI6, using his position to coordinate intelligence gathering while saving thousands of Jewish lives through creative interpretation of immigration regulations. Picture this humanitarian espionage. Foley working in the British Embassy in Berlin, his official duties providing perfect cover for intelligence operations, while his moral convictions drive him to issue visas and travel documents to Jewish families desperately seeking escape from Nazi persecution. The soft stamp of official seals and gentle rustle of passport pages mark moments where bureaucratic procedures become life-saving miracles. Imagine his dangerous compassion. Foley visiting concentration camps to verify British nationals' conditions while secretly gathering intelligence about Nazi persecution methods. His reports providing crucial evidence about Holocaust development, while his intervention saves individual lives. Listen to this remarkable detail. Foley personally saved an estimated 10,000 Jewish lives through creative visa issuance and document forgery, while his intelligence reports provided early warning to British authorities about Nazi extermination plans. After the war, he continued intelligence work but was haunted by those he couldn't save. Sometimes the most important intelligence work involves saving individual lives rather than gathering strategic information. What positions of authority might give you opportunities to help others in ways that transcend official duties? Dear listeners, let that Mediterranean sunset carry you to the refugee camps of Palestine, where children play between tents and the distant sound of olive groves mingles with stories passed down through generations about homelands lost and dreams deferred. You are about to discover Layla Khalid, the Palestinian woman whose aircraft hijacking operations in the 1960s and 1970s represented a new form of theatrical intelligence work designed to bring international attention to political causes through dramatic action. Born in 1944, she joined the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine and became one of the first female aircraft hijackers, using aviation operations to create global awareness of Palestinian issues. Picture this aerial political theater. Layla coordinating with international networks to plan hijacking operations that maximize media attention while minimizing civilian casualties. Her operations designed more for psychological impact than traditional military objectives. The soft hum of aircraft engines and gentle rustle of passenger magazines mask intelligence coordination that influences global perceptions of Middle Eastern conflicts. Imagine her strategic thinking. Layla's operations demonstrating how small groups can use modern transportation systems and media coverage to amplify political messages far beyond their actual military capabilities. The gentle scratch of communiques and whisper of international news broadcasts carry her message across continents. Listen to this significant detail. Layla's hijacking operations helped establish airplane hijacking as a form of political communication, influencing how subsequent terrorist and resistance movements approached international media and public opinion. Her actions sparked global changes in aviation security and international law regarding political hijacking. Sometimes the most effective intelligence operations focus on changing public opinion rather than gathering secret information. What dramatic actions might draw attention to causes you believe deserve wider recognition? You are now sitting in a quiet university library where the soft rustle of turning pages mingles with distant footsteps and the gentle hum of reading room lamps illuminating scholars bent over ancient texts and classified documents. Meet David Kahn, the historian whose research into cryptography and intelligence history revealed more about secret operations than many actual spies ever disclosed. Born in 1930, he spent decades researching and writing about code-breaking and intelligence work, becoming one of the world's foremost experts on cryptographic history, while maintaining his own mysterious connections to intelligence communities. Picture this academic espionage: Kahn interviewing former intelligence officers and accessing classified archives to research his groundbreaking book, The Code Breakers, his scholarly work providing unprecedented insights into how nations protect and steal secrets. The soft scratch of research notes and gentle whisper of archived documents mark discoveries that illuminate the hidden history of intelligence work. Imagine his unique position, Kahn's research making him privy to intelligence secrets and methods that governments prefer to keep hidden, his academic credibility allowing him access to sources and information that journalists or other researchers couldn't obtain. The gentle tick of library clocks measures hours spent uncovering stories that reshape understanding of historical events. Listen to this remarkable detail. Kahn's writings revealed so many intelligence secrets that some governments considered classifying his books, but his scholarship was so rigorous that attempts at censorship only confirmed the accuracy of his revelations. His work continues influencing how we understand the role of intelligence in historical events. Sometimes the most important intelligence work involves revealing secrets rather than keeping them. What research or investigation might you pursue that could illuminate hidden aspects of important issues? You are now gliding through the elegant salons of wartime Brussels, where crystal chandeliers cast gentle shadows on silk wallpaper, and the soft melody of a hidden piano mingles with whispered conversations in French, German, and English. Meet Elvira Chaudoir, codenamed Bronx, the Belgian socialite whose aristocratic connections made her one of the most effective double agents of World War II. Born in 1913 to a wealthy Belgian family, she used her status and charm to gather intelligence for the British while appearing to collaborate with German occupation forces. Picture this aristocratic deception. Elvira hosting elaborate dinner parties where German officers compete for her attention, never suspecting that this charming hostess memorizes every detail about troop movements and military planning. The soft clink of fine china and rustle of evening gowns mask intelligence gathering that reaches London through carefully orchestrated social interactions. Imagine her dangerous balancing act, Elvira maintaining relationships with both resistance fighters and German commanders, her social position providing access to multiple intelligence networks, while her apparent collaboration protects her from suspicion. The gentle scratch of invitation cards and whisper of silk gloves conceal coded messages that coordinate Allied operations. Listen to this remarkable detail. Elvira's intelligence helped coordinate escape routes for Allied airmen and provided crucial information about German defenses in Belgium, contributing directly to the success of liberation operations. Her story remained largely secret until decades after the war, protecting other operatives who had worked with her network. Sometimes the most effective resistance happens in plain sight, disguised as collaboration. What social situations might provide you with access to information that could serve larger purposes? Dear listeners, let that gentle countryside breeze carry you across the rolling hills of Edwardian England, where scouts practice knots by campfires, and the distant sound of church bells mingles with laughter from children learning skills that will serve them throughout their lives. You might be wondering how the sister of the founder of the Boy Scouts became one of Britain's first female intelligence coordinators, right? Meet Agnes Baden-Powell, who used the growing Scout movement to establish communication networks and intelligence-gathering systems that served British interests long before anyone imagined global conflict would make such networks crucial. Picture this educational espionage. Agnes organizing youth camps and training programs that teach practical skills like map reading, signaling, and observation techniques, skills that happen to be identical to basic intelligence training. The soft scratch of pencils on merit badge requirements and gentle rustle of outdoor handbooks mask the development of capabilities that could serve national defense purposes. Imagine her foresight. Agnes, recognizing that young people trained in outdoor skills, foreign languages, and cultural observation could become valuable intelligence assets. Her educational programs, creating networks of capable individuals across the British Empire. The gentle sound of whistle signals and distant campfire songs provide atmosphere for training that prepares a generation for challenges they can't yet imagine. Listen to this prescient detail. Agnes's scout networks provided crucial intelligence-gathering capabilities during World War I, as trained young people across the empire used their skills to monitor enemy activities and coordinate communications. Her contribution to intelligence preparation was recognized only long after her educational work had created lasting institutional capabilities. Sometimes the most important intelligence work involves preparing future generations rather than conducting immediate operations. What skills are you teaching others that might serve unexpected purposes in their futures? Hey, friends, let that snow-laden wind carry you through the birch forests of the Soviet Union, where winter silence is broken only by the distant sound of ski patrols and the soft whisper of snowflakes settling on pine boughs. You are about to meet Rosa Shanina, the Soviet sniper whose precision shooting was matched by her intelligence-gathering abilities behind German lines. Born in 1924, she volunteered for military service after her brother was killed and became one of the most effective female snipers in history. But her reconnaissance and intelligence work often proved even more valuable than her marksmanship. Picture this precise espionage. Rosa moving silently through winter forests, her white camouflage making her invisible against snow-covered landscapes as she observes German positions and documents enemy capabilities. The soft crunch of snow beneath her boots and gentle whisper of wind through frozen branches mask intelligence gathering that shapes Soviet tactical planning. Imagine her dual skills. Rosa's sniper training making her exceptionally skilled at observation and patience, qualities that translate perfectly to intelligence work, requiring careful documentation of enemy movements and capabilities. The gentle scratch of field notes and soft click of telescope adjustments mark moments where military observation becomes strategic intelligence. Listen to this remarkable detail. Rosa's intelligence reports about German defensive positions and troop movements helped Soviet forces plan successful offensives, while her precision shooting disrupted enemy communications and observation capabilities. She died in combat in 1945, just months before victory, but her intelligence work had helped ensure that victory was possible. Sometimes the most valuable intelligence comes from those who combine technical precision with personal courage. What technical skills might you possess that could contribute to larger missions requiring both precision and bravery? You are now strolling through the pleasure gardens of Restoration London, where masked courtiers whisper behind fans and the soft melody of lutes mingles with laughter from hidden alcoves where secrets are traded like currency. Meet Aphra Behn, the playwright and novelist who became one of England's first professional female writers while secretly working as a government spy in the Netherlands. Born around 1640, she used her literary talents and continental connections to gather intelligence about Dutch military plans and political developments during the Anglo-Dutch Wars. Picture this literary espionage. Aphra attending salons and theatrical performances in Amsterdam and The Hague, her reputation as a charming English writer providing access to Dutch intellectuals and political figures who discuss state matters freely with this entertaining visitor. The soft rustle of manuscript pages and gentle scratch of quill pens mask intelligence gathering disguised as artistic collaboration. Imagine her creative methods. Aphra encoding intelligence reports within her letters and literary manuscripts, her skills as a writer allowing her to hide strategic information within seemingly innocent correspondence about theatrical productions and publishing projects. The soft whisper of turning pages and distant harpsichord music provide atmosphere for intelligence work that looks exactly like literary research. Listen to this pioneering detail. Aphra's intelligence work helped English naval commanders understand Dutch maritime capabilities and political divisions, contributing to British strategic planning during crucial naval conflicts. After her spy career, she became one of the first women to earn a living entirely through writing, proving that intelligence skills often transfer perfectly to other forms of communication. Sometimes the most creative minds make the most effective intelligence operatives, skilled at hiding truth within fiction. What creative talents might you possess that could serve purposes beyond their obvious applications? Dear listeners, close your eyes and feel the morning mist rising from the Danube River, where the spires of Vienna catch the first light of dawn, and the distant sound of military drums mingles with church bells calling the faithful to prayer. You are about to discover how one of Europe's greatest military commanders also served as one of its most effective intelligence coordinators, Prince Eugene of Savoy, the French-born general who spent his career gathering intelligence about French military capabilities while serving the Austrian Empire. Born in 1663, he combined brilliant tactical leadership with sophisticated intelligence operations that shaped European balance of power for decades. Picture this aristocratic espionage: Eugene maintaining correspondence with contacts across European courts, his noble connections providing access to political intelligence, while his military reputation attracts information from officers and diplomats who seek his favor. The soft scratch of diplomatic correspondence and gentle rustle of military maps mask intelligence coordination that influences imperial strategy. Imagine his strategic network. Eugene coordinating with intelligence operatives across the Holy Roman Empire. His military campaigns providing cover for intelligence gathering that assesses French military innovations and political intentions. The gentle clink of armor and distant sound of cavalry exercises mark moments where military leadership and intelligence work become inseparable. Listen to this strategic detail. Eugene's intelligence networks provided crucial early warning about French military preparations, allowing Austrian and Allied forces to anticipate and counter French strategic initiatives throughout the War of Spanish Succession. His combination of military leadership and intelligence coordination helped establish the balance of power that shaped 18th century Europe. Sometimes the most effective intelligence coordinators are those whose public roles provide natural access to the information they need to gather secretly. What leadership positions might give you opportunities to gather information that could serve larger strategic purposes? You are now rocking gently aboard a merchant ship crossing the Indian Ocean, where dolphins play in azure waters, and the soft sound of wind through rigging mingles with exotic languages from passengers traveling between continents. Meet Ida Pfeiffer, the Austrian traveler whose solo journeys around the world in the 1840s and 1850s provided perfect cover for intelligence gathering in regions where few Europeans had ever ventured. Born in 1797, she became one of the first women to travel alone around the globe. But her expeditions often served intelligence purposes for the Austrian government and other European powers. Picture this geographical espionage. Ida traveling through remote regions of Asia, Africa, and the Americas, her notebooks filled with botanical observations and cultural descriptions that conceal strategic intelligence about trade routes, military capabilities, and political situations in regions of growing European interest. The soft scratch of travel journals and gentle rustle of expedition supplies mask intelligence gathering disguised as scientific curiosity. Imagine her unique access. Ida's status as a lone female traveler making her seem harmless to local authorities, while actually providing unprecedented access to information about transportation networks, natural resources, and political conditions that male travelers or obvious government agents couldn't obtain. Listen to this remarkable detail. Ida's travel reports provided European governments with their first detailed intelligence about political conditions in Madagascar, Southeast Asia, and other regions that would become crucial to colonial expansion and trade development. Her published travel books became bestsellers, while her confidential reports influenced European policy toward emerging global opportunities. Sometimes the most valuable intelligence comes from those who appear to be motivated by pure curiosity rather than political purposes. What travels or explorations might provide you with insights that others would find strategically valuable? Hey friends, let that evening mist carry you across ancient Chinese battlefields, where the soft sound of wind through bamboo groves mingles with distant temple bells, and the whispered strategies of generals planning campaigns that will reshape dynasties. You are about to meet one of history's most sophisticated intelligence coordinators, Cao Cao, the Han Dynasty warlord whose spy networks and information gathering systems established principles of military intelligence that influenced Chinese strategic thinking for millennia. Born in 155 CE, he understood that information could be more valuable than armies in determining the outcome of conflicts. Picture this ancient espionage. Cao Cao coordinating networks of merchants, scholars, and travelers who gather intelligence about enemy capabilities and political developments across the fragmenting Chinese empire. The soft scratch of bamboo brushes on silk scrolls and gentle whisper of messenger pigeons mark moments where information becomes strategic advantage. Imagine his systematic approach. Cao Cao establishing formal intelligence protocols that coordinate observation, analysis, and dissemination of strategic information. His methods creating institutional knowledge that survives individual campaigns and political changes. The gentle sound of abacus beads and rustle of military maps provide atmosphere for intelligence coordination that influences imperial strategy. Listen to this foundational detail. Cao Cao's intelligence methods and organizational principles influenced Chinese military thinking for over 1,000 years, establishing patterns of information gathering and analysis that shaped how subsequent dynasties approached strategic planning. His innovations in intelligence coordination proved as lasting as his military conquests, creating institutional capabilities that transcended political boundaries. Sometimes the most important intelligence innovations establish principles that influence strategic thinking across centuries and cultures. What organizational methods might you develop that could influence how others approach similar challenges long into the future? You are now walking through the quiet streets of a Canadian border town at twilight, where oil lamps flicker in windows and the soft sound of footsteps on wooden sidewalks mingles with whispered conversations about freedom and new beginnings. Meet Mary Ann Shadd Carey, the African-American journalist and educator whose work coordinating Underground Railroad operations combined intelligence gathering with humanitarian rescue activities. Born in 1823, she became the first black female publisher in North America while secretly coordinating escape networks that required sophisticated intelligence about safe routes, friendly contacts, and dangerous obstacles. Picture this humanitarian espionage. Mary Ann publishing newspapers and educational materials that appear to focus on community development, while actually containing coded information about escape routes and safe houses for freedom seekers. The soft scratch of printing presses and gentle rustle of newspaper pages mask intelligence coordination that saves lives through careful information distribution. Imagine her network coordination. Mary Ann maintaining correspondence with abolitionists and Underground Railroad operators across North America, her legitimate publishing business providing perfect cover for intelligence gathering about slavery enforcement and escape opportunities. The gentle clink of typesetting and whisper of editorial conferences conceal meetings where humanitarian intelligence shapes rescue operations. Listen to this inspiring detail. Mary Ann's intelligence networks helped coordinate successful escapes for hundreds of freedom seekers, while her published materials influenced public opinion about slavery and provided crucial information for anti-slavery organizing. Her combination of journalism, education, and intelligence work demonstrated how information could serve both strategic and humanitarian purposes simultaneously. Sometimes the most important intelligence work involves coordinating rescue operations rather than gathering military secrets. What information networks might you help establish that could provide life-saving assistance to those who need it most? Dear listeners, let that ocean breeze carry you across the peaceful waters of the Pacific at dawn, where the distant sound of seabirds mingles with gentle waves lapping against ship hulls and the soft whisper of wind through radio antenna. You are about to discover how Japan's most famous admiral also served as one of its most effective intelligence coordinators. Isoroku Yamamoto, the naval strategist, whose intelligence gathering about American capabilities shaped Japanese naval planning throughout the early 20th century. Born in 1884, he studied at Harvard and served as naval attaché in Washington, gathering intelligence that would influence the Pacific War's strategic development. Picture this maritime intelligence: Yamamoto observing American naval capabilities and industrial capacity during his diplomatic assignments, his technical expertise allowing him to assess strategic implications of American technological development and military planning. The soft hum of naval engines and gentle splash of harbor waves provide atmosphere for intelligence gathering disguised as diplomatic courtesy. Imagine his strategic analysis. Yamamoto's intelligence reports about American naval capabilities influencing Japanese strategic planning, while his warnings about American industrial potential challenge prevailing assumptions about Pacific warfare possibilities. The gentle scratch of strategic assessments and whisper of classified reports mark moments where intelligence analysis shapes national policy. Listen to this tragic detail. Yamamoto's intelligence work convinced him that Japan could not win a prolonged war with America, but his strategic planning requirements forced him to design operations like Pearl Harbor that he believed were strategically necessary but ultimately futile. His death in 1943 ended a career where intelligence gathering and strategic planning created internal contradictions that epitomized Japan's wartime dilemmas. Sometimes the most perceptive intelligence analysis reveals truths that are strategically necessary but personally unbearable. What insights might your analysis provide that others need to hear but might prefer to ignore? You are now sitting quietly in your own room, wherever you are right now, surrounded by the familiar sounds of your daily life, perhaps traffic outside your window, the gentle hum of electronics, or simply the soft rhythm of your own breathing as you've listened to these 100 stories. Our final story belongs to someone whose name we'll never know. The countless unnamed intelligence operatives throughout history whose work shaped events without leaving traces in official records. These unknown agents worked as servants, merchants, teachers, and neighbors, gathering information and coordinating activities that influenced everything from ancient trade routes to modern diplomatic negotiations. Picture this anonymous dedication. Someone much like you, living an ordinary life while serving extraordinary purposes. Their daily routines providing perfect cover for intelligence work that supports causes they believe deserve their secret service. The familiar sounds of everyday life, coffee brewing, keys jingling, messages arriving, mask activities that connect to networks spanning continents and centuries. Imagine their quiet courage. Unknown agents risking everything for beliefs and loyalties that transcend personal safety, their stories lost to history, but their contributions woven into the fabric of events we remember and celebrate. The gentle tick of clocks and rustle of normal activities mark lives devoted to purposes larger than individual recognition. Listen to this final thought. Perhaps the most important intelligence work happens in ordinary moments, by ordinary people who choose to serve extraordinary causes, their names forgotten, but their influence lasting forever. As you drift towards sleep tonight, consider that you too possess unique access to information, relationships, and opportunities that could serve purposes beyond your current imagination. Sometimes the most powerful intelligence operatives are those who never know they're making history. What ordinary aspects of your life might actually provide extraordinary opportunities to serve causes larger than yourself?